morning, as I started to read, I'm just going to read a psalm, Psalm 103, a few verses. It says, "Beneficial is Yahweh, O my soul, and all that is within me. Beneficial his set-apart name. Beneficial is Yahweh, O my soul, and forgetting the benefits, who forgives all your iniquities, who heals all your diseases, who rescues your life from destruction, who crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies." In verse 5 it says, "Who satisfies your mouth so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. Yahweh brings forth right rulings and establishes his judgments for all that are oppressed. He made known his ways to Musa, his acts to the children of Israel." Verse 8 of Psalm 103. "Yahweh is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in loving kindness. He will not always accuse, but with us after our transgression, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the Shamaim is high above the earth, so great is his loving kindness toward them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. Like as our Father pities his children, so Yahweh pities them that fear him. For he knows what we know. He remembers dust. As for man, his days are as grass, fly, so he pushes. The wind passes over it, and it is gone, and the place there shall know it no more. But the loving kindness of Yahweh is from everlasting to ever, them that fear him, and his right ruling to children's children, to those that guard his contract agreement, to those that remember his commandments to do them. Yahweh has prepared his throne in the Shamaim, and his kingdom rules over all. Beneficial is Yahweh, his Malakim, that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearken to the voice of his word. Beneficial is Yahweh, all you his armies, you messengers of his that do his pleasure. Beneficial is Yahweh, all his works, in all places of his dominion. Praise Yahweh, O my soul." So I just wanted to say that Yahweh is with us. As HaKohen said last Shabbat, I went back and listened to that 2 or 3 times. It was such an encouragement, and we can take courage and be encouraged with the leadership of HaKohen and knowing that we are Israel. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Okay, Todah for that, Rabbi Benaiah. Enjoy your stay in Washington, D.C. Rabbi Kifa, okay, Todah for the testimony. Do you want the mic for any further updates, or shall I continue? Okay, Todah for that, Rabbi Kifa. Todah. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. This is Rabbi Simon Elter from Pensacola, Florida, the place where the sunshine starts and spreads all over the world. Not just America, it goes all over the world. And we're not just talking about here literal sunshine, we're talking about spiritual sunshine and figurative sunshine. You know, it goes all throughout the planets. And I'm going to give praises to the Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth. And I'm going to lift up his name, the name of Yahweh. And you know, people ask me, well, do you believe Jesus is God? Well, if I say Yeshua is Yahweh, what am I saying? You know, so indeed Yahweh is Jesus and Jesus is Yahweh, interchangeable. And a lot of people say, Rabbi, well, why don't you just use Yehoshua now? Why don't you call him Yeshua? Or why not Yahusha? You know, they come up with all these phrases that they like for you to use and get stuck with and separate yourself and, you know, shun people who use Jesus or perhaps, you know, some other translation of the name. And I don't do that, because to me, whether you say Jesus or whether you say Jesus in Spanish, it's the same to me, because it is your language. It is what is your language, is what you say, and God is not going to judge your language. There is no verse in the Bible from cover to cover, from the book of Genesis to the book of Revelation, that says that God is going to judge you, the Lord is going to judge you for using a name in your vernacular. There's no such thing. So therefore, it is open season, it's open forum. You can use Yahweh, you can use the Lord if you want to, you can use Jesus, you can use Yehoshua, you can use Yahusha, you can use Yahawashi, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me, because as far as the power is concerned, as Rabbi Bania was just reading to you a psalm, the power emanates from the heavens. The power emanates from the heavens irrespective of your personality, your belief system, and what you do. So the Parsha today is Parsha Tuchat. And it is a very interesting Parsha. It talks about the red heifer. It talks about the 40 years of journeying that our people did through before entering into Israel. It talks about Miriam's death. It talks about the people's thirst for water. And it also talks about where God tells Moses to speak to the rock, to command it to give water, but Moses gets angry at the people of Israel that were rebellious, and he strikes the rock, and water still comes out, but God is a little bit angry with Moses. And then it also tells you the death of Aaron. It tells you the succession of the priesthood by his son Eleazar or Eleazar. It also talks about the venomous snakes that attacked the Israelites, the rebellious Israelites, and how then God commands for this brass serpent to be erected, put on a high pole, and everybody that will gaze upon it will be healed, or technically term used, saved. Then we also see that people sing a song in the desert for the provisions that have been given them. And then we have Moses that has to lead through certain battles, and they fight some serious battles with the kings of Sihon and Og in Saudi Arabia, by the way. Yeah, Og is from Saudi Arabia, lo and behold. And we also find that there's a lot going on. Now, I can sit over here, and I have done it in the past. I can sit over here and I can tell you the theology of it. I can take you through the theology. I can tell you, well, this Hebrew word means this, and this character has this effect, and so on and so forth. And I can be here all day just opening up one word. My point is this, that if I do that, and I have done that in the past, if I do that, how does that benefit you in your lives? Because, there's going to come a point, you're going to get bored. You're going to say, well, how does this help me? Me knowing about shalom, or how to spell shalom, or how to break it down, and what characters it uses, and how that helps me. How does it help me? How does it help me in my daily life? And the honest truth is this, that theology never helped anybody. Theology doesn't help anybody. Theology is just there for theologians, for rabbis, teachers. Is there for themselves to understand scriptures from perhaps from another angle. I don't know whether I can call that angle theological, philosophical. I come from a background, as you know, I come from a background, a debate background. I had a lot of debates with Muslims and some Christians. I say Christians, not really Christian, but some people that were, let's just say Jews. Jews that claimed one way or the other. Those kind of debates regarding end times, not regarding salvation issues, but regarding end times. I had some debates on that, and some Jews who spoke Hebrew, and they the laughable thing is that they think that they know more by their Hebrew and they know Jack. When I sat back and observe all the Hebrew they knew, and they couldn't cipher out some small little detail in the Bible that I was shown by revelation. I was shown this information by revelation, not by theology, not by opening up a Strong's dictionary. I didn't have one. I didn't have a Strong's dictionary, and I didn't have any lexicons at the time. We're talking about back 18 years ago, when I was 19 years ago, when I was shown this information by revelation. And I decided, I looked back at my history, my short history of 20 years in this teaching, just under 20 years. In September this year, it'll be 20 years full. So I just looked back and I thought, what are my best teachings? Out of all of them, and I don't know. I can't sound my own drum, but I tell you this much, that I wouldn't put a finger on my theological teachings regarding, we take this Hebrew phrase and we break it down like this, and this is what I see in here, and blah, 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 blah. I don't really see those as the best teachings at all. My best teachings were those where I showed you the revelation of God, and many of you who probably not even with us today, or probably never were with us, because you probably just happened to go on maybe the website at the time, Abrahamic Faith website that we had, the old name, or maybe another name, or maybe it was posted to there by somebody else in another website, and you happened to hear my teaching and it benefited you, that revelation of God. So I really have no problem speaking, calling him the Lord, calling him Master, calling him Jesus, calling him Yehoshua. But I do have a problem sticking to one title. Where people get stuck. They get stuck and they say, well, you can't call him anything but Yeshua, or you can't call him anything but Yahusha. So I've noticed that people who do that, I've never done that. I don't have a history of doing that, because you probably heard me say Jesus, you heard me say Yeshua, you heard me say Yeshua, you heard me say Yehoshua, you heard me say all of these titles. And so, or names, that are translated from the Hebrew. And so, but I do see some people who go from Jesus to Yeshua, from Yeshua, then they get stuck with Yahusha, then they get stuck with maybe something else after that, and so that's how their progression is. So it shows me that people who get stuck like that, not only do they get stuck, but they make everybody else stuck. It's what Rabbi Kifa used the word hindrance. It's a hindrance. It hinders everybody else to their growth. Why? Because you get stuck at one location and you don't know what to do with it. You can't move forward. Your relationships get stuck, your theology gets stuck, your friendships get stuck, everything gets stuck. So what's the solution? The solution is revelation. I used to spend hours and hours and hours preparing my lectures. Sometimes I would spend 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours preparing a lecture. Very detailed, verse by verse, then going through it one by one, maybe take me a couple of hours to do that in the actual lecture. But I realized that I kind of stepped back out of that. I stepped back and asked myself, should I teach by theology or should I teach by revelation? And for years I wrestled with the answer on that. Is should I teach by theology? Should I teach by revelation? Should I teach by existential experience? And I came to an answer, and my answer to this day, or today in 2018, June, my answer is this, that I would actually like to teach by revelation. I don't want to sit there for 20 hours, 40 hours, 60 hours, locked in my room, preparing a lecture, step by step. There may be people out there that want to hear it that way. There may be people like that. But my preference, my preferred method is to receive a revelation from God, receive a revelation and run with it. Just as the prophets of old did. The prophets of old, you go and you look at Prophet Elisha. You go and look at Prophet Elijah. You go and look at the Prophet Moses and the leader of Israel. None of them, you will not find, Elisha was a very wealthy man. You will not find such a person as Prophet Elisha sitting there, drawing a lecture step by step, and then presenting it as a story to somebody. Like, he meets this woman that we spoke about was the Shunammite, he meets this woman, and she asks him to come to his house, and she wants to make a room for him. She wants him to live there, and she wants to give him food, since this is a wealthy woman. But he doesn't at any point, do you notice that, does he at any point say, well, let me teach you some Torah? And this is how it is. This is where we start. We start over here in Genesis, then we're going to go over to the book of Exodus, and we see how the Israelites marched out. You see, none of that. He does talk about Torah, but what does he give her? He gives her a revelation. He says to her that you're going to have a son. And she says to him, get out. He says to him, stop joking with me. Stop joking with me. You're telling me I'm going to have a son? Because, she obviously wasn't having a son for a long, long time. And she had given up on the idea as well. She was getting on in age as well. So she couldn't believe it. And she said, are you serious? Are you kidding? I'm going to have a child? And he said, you're going to have a child. So he spoke by revelation. All the prophets spoke by revelation. I feel, and I'm sure there are many people who disagree with me, because, there are always people who disagree, and there are always people who agree. I'm sure that some of you will agree that revelation tops theology any time. That's my conclusion in the matter. After 19 years, I've concluded that revelation tops theology. And I speak as a learned man. I don't speak as a Joe on the street. I'm a learned man. I'm educated in Gentile education. I'm educated in biblical education, not necessarily through a seminary, but through personal study and revelation. So therefore, I think it's very important to get to revelation. And what is the revelation this week? Amazing things have happened. From last Shabbat to today, amazing things have happened. And I'm afraid I can't share them all, with you, because they're not. Today is not the right time to share them, and I will share them at another time. But I will tell you this, that Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Baruch Hashem Master Yeshua, Master Jesus, I love him. He's the one who came to my door. Absolutely. He's the one who came to my door in 1998 September. It was he who called me out. It was he who came to me. I didn't have Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door. I didn't have Christians attend my door. I didn't have Jews care about me. A lot of you are running out there. If you're listening to this, if you're going to listen to this on MP3 later, a lot of you run after Jews from Israel, Ashkenazi Jews, and you're like, oh, let me touch him. I'm going to get blessed if I touch him. Let me give him some money, and I'm going to get blessed if I give him some money. So I think that this is the problem. The problem is just that people are chasing the wrong people to be blessed, and that's their issue. Whereas I know that the one that came to my door wasn't a Jew from Jerusalem, Israel. Well, I would say that the Jew that came to my door was from Nazareth, Jesus of Nazareth. So I give all praises and thanks to him for my life, for all the works that have happened in my life, and for all the benefits and the blessings and the increases that I've been able to dispense through the permission of the heavens. I give thanks to that, to the Abba in heaven, and I give thanks to his Son for putting me in this place to be allowed to be used as an instrument of his blessing. Not destruction, blessing. So let's get that straight. So with that in mind, the parasha speaks a lot about commandments. Commandments that are within this particular parasha, and I can probably kick-start it in book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, this is the ordinance of the Torah which Yahweh has commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel that they bring you a red heifer without spot, wherein there is no blemish and has never been yoked. And you shall give her to, notice this, give her to Eliezer. You won't find this translation in the King James Version, by the way. This is now theology. You give her to Eleazar the Kohen, that he may bring her forth outside the camp, and one shall slaughter her before his face. And Eleazar the Kohen shall take of her blood with his finger and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tent of the appointed time 7 times, and one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh and her blood, with her excrement shall he burn. And the Kohen shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast it into the midst of the burning of the fire, burning of the heifer. Then the Kohen shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in wine, and afterwards he shall come out into the camp, and the Kohen shall be unclean until the evening. And he that burns her shall wash his clothes in Maim, and bathe his flesh in Maim, and shall be unclean until the evening. And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and lay them up outside the camp in clean place, and it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a time of menstruation, separation. It is for impurity. And he that gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. It shall be to the children of Israel and to the foreigner that lives among them for a statute forever. Okay, then it talks about unclean laws, and it goes into the clean laws, and so on and so forth. And in chapter 20 starts with the journey into the wilderness of Zin. You know, what happened, this is Saudi Arabia now. Saudi Arabia kicks in over here, but today is known as northern Saudi Arabia. And it talks about people about in Kadesh, and Miriam died there. So by the way, Miriam died in Saudi Arabia. And look at the blessing. Look at the blessing that was left in Saudi Arabia. Can you imagine that? We had our sister, our maternal mother, if you can call her, or sister, you can call her, or daughter, if you can call her. She died in Saudi Arabia, and look at the blessing she left over there. That is amazing, because today that country is so rich in oil. Mineral wells, that billions and billions and billions of barrels of oil. And yes, it was given to Abraham that Ishmael will be blessed. He will be a great nation. But look at the feet. Whose feet landed in Saudi Arabia? I think we missed the bigger picture. I'm not going to concentrate on theology. I want to concentrate on the bigger picture. The bigger picture is this: Aaron's feet landed in Saudi Arabia. Moses' feet landed in Saudi Arabia. Miriam's, the children of Israel. All the oil was there back then as well, but it wasn't dug out. So you see that all these people were there. Now we do know from historical basis that the Master Yeshua, we know that he never went to Saudi Arabia. We know that. Perhaps, maybe he did. Maybe he did go there and we don't know, because that history hasn't been told us. Potentially he could have gone through it. There's nothing that says he can't. There's no such thing as he can't. He can go through there, because he went through a lot of places. But I want to give you a central point in this whole scenario. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to be encouraged, and I want to bless you to be blessed. But there is a way to be blessed, and there's a way not to be blessed. And I will give you some pointers that will help you. Now, our Master Jesus, our Lord Jesus, the Master Yeshua, we notice that he was a theologian of theologians. He was a master of masters, king of kings. But notice that he never, he reprimanded a lot of people, a lot of Pharisees, a lot of Sadducees that he came across. He came across a lot of Pharisees and always had these issues with them. And he reprimanded them on theology, because they were stuck with a certain type of theology. And they were pushing the people to that certain type of theology. This is what I mean when somebody's stuck with a name. They'll say, well, if you don't say Yehovah, you're saying the name wrong. You got to say Yehovah. Or if you don't say Yahusha, you're saying the name wrong. You got to say Yahusha. These are the people, by the way, that are stuck with a certain type of theology. They have one-way track mind. Their mind is one track. It can't go from point A to point B. It's stuck because they are stuck, and if you follow such people, you will be stuck. And you won't be able to go forward from A to B, because then you will be critical of everybody around you who is a believer, and you will criticize them and say, well, why are you saying Jesus? Why are you saying Jehovah? Why are you saying the Lord? See, this is then it becomes your critiques, your you become a hindrance to everybody else. And you don't want to be a hindrance. You want to be a blessing. And this title of this teaching today, call it teaching, call it a sermon, call it a shir in Hebrew, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, but it's going to be the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. This is, you haven't received the best yet. You are going to get it. That is going to be the title of this particular teaching. And the reason why I say that is because certain events took place in last week, and those events have changed the way that I operate. And of course, Rabbi Kiva has been, if I'm in touch with anybody closely, then I'm in touch with Rabbi Kiva closely throughout the week. And sometimes I touch base with the other rabbis as well. Rabbi Benaiah, sometimes touch base with him, sometimes with Rabbi Zechariah. And I do kind of traverse the land of North America a little bit through my telephone. So it helps sometimes to be in touch with your people. And so one thing that Rabbi Kiva has seen, Rabbi Kiva has witnessed great miracles. And other things have happened in my base, in my house. Other things have happened. But I'm not yet able to speak about them to you. Because now is not the time to speak about those things. Because they're a little sensitive. And I don't want other people around me to be, hurt. When I speak those words, they will hurt other people. I know that. So I don't want to speak those words right now because they speak against them. They don't speak against me, they speak against them, and the word comes from Shemaim. It doesn't come from me, it comes from the Shemaim, from the heavens. So there is another time for that. But I don't want to be here to judge and jury. I'm not a judge, I'm not a jury. Well, technically, yeah, I might be a Kohen. Well, I am a Kohen, not technically, but I am a Kohen. That I can't change. But what I mean is that I'm not going to sit here as a judge to judge people and pronounce judgment on them. I don't want to do that. Because that is not the role that the Lord has created me for. That is not the role I've been created for. So the Master, Yeshua, has created me for another role. To help people, to bless them, to allow them to come to an understanding of themselves and to receive the bracha, the brachot, the blessings that He can give you. To have an open mind. It's very, very important. In my sphere where I am, and as Rabbi Kiva, is trying to learn things as well, Rabbi Kiva could probably tell you that I'm about 10 steps ahead of, I just don't know how. I just don't know how I'm ahead. Let's just say I'm 3 steps ahead. I don't know how. The only thing I can tell you is I'm 3 steps ahead because of the great blessing of the God of Israel. That's all I can tell you. I'm 3 steps ahead. I have seen people. This is not true testimony. I have seen people on the stock market, on the currency markets. I have seen people lose millions of dollars. I have read about people who made millions of dollars, and I have read about people who lost millions of dollars. And I even know somebody personally who lost about $16,000 in less than an hour on the British pound, USD dollar currency market. I know that person personally, by the way, in England. He lost that money in less than an hour. And at the time, the agreement I had with that person was that he was supposed to consult with me. He was supposed to consult with me before he will place a trade, and I will have to okay that trade. And if I didn't okay it, he wouldn't place it. So what he did, he short-circuited himself. He thought, well, Simon is not around. I'm going to just do this trade. I know what I'm doing, and I will make money. And he went ahead and placed the trade, and my goodness, less than an hour. I think it took seconds. In a few minutes, the currency turned around against him a number of times. It went against him down, Then he went. Then he changed his trade and went down. Then he went up. then it was too late for him. So whichever way he turned, he lost money both sides. And by the time it was said and done, shake your hands, he was now $16,000 short. That is what happens when you don't listen to instructions. I mean, he wasn't a poor man, by the way. He wasn't a poor man. That wasn't going to kill him. That wasn't his bread and butter. You know, he had plenty of money. It's not like he's going to now be out of food. He wasn't out of food, but it was out of luck. You know, he didn't listen. He didn't listen, and so therefore he couldn't blame anybody but himself. So Rabbi Kiva has seen me tame the most volatile market. I have shown him how to tame that market. He has seen me do that. And I call that market, I've given it a new name, gringo. The Mexican peso is a currency pair that's in unity with US dollar, and I've given it a new name, the gringo. The gringo I have been able to tame, that no man has been able to tame yet. It's amazing, I tell you that. It's amazing how I've been able to tame it. And it's great, it's absolutely great, it's fantastic. It's just fantastic, you know, knowing that you can tame a market like that. And you're not gonna be in fear. You know, you're not gonna be in fear. Oh, I'm gonna lose all my money because I've done something, wrong. It's not even like that. So you're listening to a person that was chosen by God, was appointed by God, blessed by God, anointed by God to help you. That's the person you're listening to. If you're listening to me from somewhere else, not from this room presently. So with that in mind, I want to base my sermon on revelation, not on theology. I don't want to sit here and give you the little nuances of Hebrew and, let's spell Yahweh and it spells like this and you spell it this way and put the cursive like that and you do this and all of that. No, I don't want to do that. That may appeal to some audiences, and there are people, geeky people, who may want to hear it that way. But I would like to speak to the revelation of God. I would like to speak to the revelation that happens in my house, in my own personal life, in people around me that I speak to, people around me that I am able to bless. I want to speak about that, because that is the greatest blessing that you can receive. So with that in mind, I come across people all the time that are seeking help in their lives. For instance, they are struggling. They are, not making ends meet. They are having all sorts of issues. And with that in mind, I want to take you back to that parsha, and I want to show you another side of that parsha that I haven't shown you. And basically, is this. It says, then came. Let's go back to that chapter 19, verse 1, and listen to what it's saying. And let me give you the spiritual side of that and the magical side of the Torah. Torah is magic. I say Torah is magic. The whole Bible is magic. But Torah is essentially magic of magics. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. Awesome. And it says, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, this is the ordinance of the Torah which Yahweh has commanded. Speak to the children of Israel. Let's stop over here. Who is commanded? Who by? Who is to speak? And who to? Here, I'm going to break this whole thing down into this. The God of Israel speaks to Moses, and it says to Aaron, to the priest, high priest. Then what does he say? He says, this is the commandment, this is the ordinance. Ordinance can be a commandment, it can be a statute, it can be a judgment, a decision. He says, this is the commandment of the Torah. This is a magical thing, basically. He says, this is what it is, that I am commanding you, and you command the children of Israel. Okay? Let's stop there. We're not going to get into the red heifer, how the red heifer is a type. It is a type of the Messiah Jesus. It is a type of him, but we're not going to so much refer to that, because it is a type, and the fact, the sacrifice, and the fact, the blood, and the blood of Yeshua, etc. These are all types, shadows. And that is fine and dandy, no problem about that. But I want to teach you something even greater than that, something even higher than that, that will even be spoken by the Master Yeshua as well. And we'll go to that afterwards. And it says this speak. It says Yahweh speaks to Moses, and I think Rabbi Kifa pointed this out to you last week, and somebody wrote to me in pointing this out, and I was like, well, we already, this information is already present with us. This is not new information to us. We already know about this. So this information, speaking. So Yahweh is speaking in what? When Moses is hearing, what is he hearing in? In his ears, right? He's hearing it in his ear, and Aaron is hearing it, and then Aaron's going to speak through his mouth. And Moses is going to speak through his mouth. So I think that the point that was being made from last week, I believe, was that the word ear, if you kind of have certain words, somebody pointed out that the bread, bread of God, or the daily bread, he said the word bread has the word read in it. If you can separate the B, it has read in it. So it is good to read the Bible, because that is what goes into your brain and helps you to understand. It's a good point. And we heard that the word, we were looking at other words, and we said that one of the words had ear in it, and therefore it was it was kind of a sign. So therefore, what is happening over here? Let me tell you the bigger picture. The bigger picture is this: that speaking words has a great benefit to you. And so what happens is that we can speak blessings or we can speak curses. We must always try, and I use the word lightly, try, because even me as a human being, I will make mistakes where, not that I'm cursing people down, but that sometimes I may forget and I may not speak the right word to somebody, or maybe I speak the wrong word and they get offended. So we must always endeavor to speak the right word, because what needs to go into the other person's ear is the right word. And as you know, as I've told you in the past, the ear is a representative of a priest, a Kohen. The Kohanim are known as the ear of God, because God speaks into their ear and they speak to the congregation of Israel. And you are a chosen people. All of you that are with us, that are part of our team, part of our people, you are a chosen and a blessed people. And I've spoken with you, some of you personally, some of you privately, some of you over the phone, some of you physically. I have met some of you. Shane is in the room. I have met him in Michigan. He came specially to meet me over there, Baruch Shem, Master Yeshua, that I was able to see him, and I was able to meet some of others of you. And I'm going to tell you this: if you think, we have a great president, and I know a lot of people don't like him. I know that. President Trump is a good president. A lot of people don't like him, but that's okay. Nobody ever loved the president, 100%. There's always for and against. And I can tell you this, that you might be thinking that the greatest thing you can do, Rabbi Benaiah is in Washington, D.C., and the president is there. And you might think that the shaking of the hands with the president is the greatest thing that you can ever achieve, right? A lot of people will be thinking that, but I'll tell you what's greater. The greatest thing you can do is shake hands with a Kohen. That's the greatest thing that you can do. And the greatest thing that can happen to you is, I've been to your homes, that a Kohen can visit your house and step foot in it. That's the greatest blessing in this world, in this planet, that can ever happen to you. And this is not because I am saying it for me. I'm not saying it for me. Any Kohen out there, anybody who's a Kohen, anybody. My student who's a Kohen in Holland, if he was to step into your house will be tremendously blessed. Any Kohen, by the way, any Kohen. It doesn't necessarily have to be Rabbi Simon Altef. However, Rabbi Simon Altef is one of the Kohanim who carries a certain anointing, a certain blessing. And yes, my blessing will touch you, my goodness, world over, wherever you are on the planet. And let me give you with that a testimony. I want to give you a testimony from Manila, Philippines. And I have a student over there. And my student over there, his name is also the name of my forefather, Abraham. His name is Abraham as well. And Abraham, I'm happy to tell you, has finally made it to New Zealand. Baruch Hashem, Master Yeshua. I'm so happy about that. He was so worried. He was sending me messages last week. He was saying, Rabbi, what am I going to do? These guys are selling their restaurant, and I was supposed to work there, and they have now told me that we're going to sell our restaurant and we're going to buy another business. And what should I do? I'm getting doubts. What should I do? So he kind of sent me messages, very worried. And I said to him, Abraham, hold your faith. Abraham, do not worry about it. You need to step out. I want you to step out in faith, not in sight. Step out. And I want you to go. You have to go. You must go. And your provision is already made. I already see it. Your provision is made. You're going to be established, but you have to leave this place. You're not going to get your provision if you don't leave the place. So I said, you have to go. You have to go. The New Zealand, you have to go. And so he finally, he was hindered. That word, hindered again. He was hindered by circumstances. Then finally, he was able to make that leap of faith. Because a lot of the problem of our life, Mishpacha, family, a lot of our problem is we go by sight. That's the worst thing we can do. We should never go by sight. We must always go by faith. Because if we don't go by faith, we will never be successful in anything. If I had just stuck to sight, if I had said to myself in 2015, I'm not going to leave England, I'm not going to leave my $100,000 job, because what am I, stupid? I don't see any home for myself in America. Yeah, I can buy a home, but what am I going to do over there? I don't have a job over there. I don't have nothing over there. I don't know what's going to happen to my relationship. Is it going to last? Is it going to stay? Why? Am I stupid? Am I going to just leave my job, my home, my family, and just walk? And that's exactly what I did. I was stupid. I didn't want it to be that stupid. I was the other way stupid. What I was telling myself, I didn't have, by the way, I didn't say that to myself, that am I stupid? Because I walk by faith. I don't walk by sight. But if I had looked at my sight, all the facts, facts being, I'm new to this land, I don't have a home, I don't know what's going to happen, these are kind of facts, right? These are facts. Even facts can be altered by Yahweh. Even the Master Jesus, Yeshua, can alter those facts for you. And I had all those facts in front of me. That, what about my home? What about my provisions? What about my job? What about this? What about that? I had tons of those things going on. But the day that dream came to me, and I waited for that dream 20 years. Listen, Mishpacha, I waited for it 20 years. And the day that dream came to me was a fine morning, around 4 o'clock in the morning when that dream came to me, guesstimate, I'm not giving exact time, between 4 and 5, that was it. I was ready to go. I woke up that morning and I was like, okay, I now need to give a notice. I now need to give a notice to my job. And I started to prepare my notice. I said I'm going to give my notice. So I wrote my notice down. I still have it. I still have my notice, in my laptop. So I prepared my notice and I said that I want to resign from this job and I'm leaving, and this is gave no particular reasons, but just said, I've got to leave. 3 days later, after receiving that revelation through a dream, I decided to hop, leave England. And I haven't looked back since. It's been 3 years now. I've been here now more than 3 years. I have gone back and forth, I've traversed America all over the place. I've been a lot of your base, a lot of your homes I've visited, but I have not left America permanently to go back to where I came from. Because I walk by faith. I don't walk by sight. All of you will do well who walk by faith. If you walk by sight, you will never succeed in life. You will always be down. You'll always have problems. Why? Because you're walking by sight. You'll be telling yourself, it can't be done. You'll be telling yourself, look, I'm 80 years old. Oh, absolutely, the 5 I wills from Get Out. So that I pointed out in Genesis. So you would have to walk by. You should not walk by sight, because you know what by sight you're going to be saying. You're going to be saying, I am 80 years old. I am 70 something years old. I've done my life. You're going to say, I have a wooden leg. I have one straight leg and one wooden leg. You're going to say, I have an artificial arm. I have an artificial hand. You're going to make up all sorts of excuses. Every excuse is under the book. I'm 50 years old. I'm 60 years old. I'm 75. Or you're going to say that I'm too young. I'm only 13. I'm only 16. And all these excuses, these are all excuses to keep us back. But let me tell you the secret to success. The secret to success and blessings. Matthew chapter 6 verse 33. But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Ask. Matthew chapter 7 verses 7 to 8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks, receives. The one who seeks, finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. A lot of you have not even asked. A lot of you haven't knocked on the door. So the door is still shut. And a lot of you have not sought His face. Make God everything in your life. Seek first His kingdom. In other words, make God first. Somebody sent me a recording yesterday of Denzel Washington. And Denzel Washington was speaking to some university, some graduation ceremony, and he was telling the people that looking at me and what I am and what I've achieved, he said that make God first in your life. Make Him first and you can achieve everything that I have achieved, you can achieve as well. So that's what Denzel Washington was basically telling the people. And somebody was saying that put God first. And I would say that put God first, put God second, and put God third. If you want to be successful, the one thing you never do is go against His ordinance. Whatever God has established, you must accept without blinking your eye. And I know a lot of you blink your eyes like me. So if you can accept without blinking your eye, you're good. Because it is very important that we accept God and we accept everything that is put in our place and whatever is instituted. And I know that kind of almost like I'm pointing fingers to myself, that you have to accept His priesthood, and yes, that is true as well. You have to accept His priesthood because He instituted it. I didn't institute it. I didn't institute the prophethood, and I'm not claiming to be a prophet, but there are prophets of God. There were prophets of God out there. And there may be people that God is using to give prophecy to. It doesn't matter whether they are Christians, doesn't matter whether they are Jews, doesn't matter if they are Gentiles. It doesn't matter who they are. But if God has given them a word, a prophecy, then we have to listen to it. We have to listen to it, whether it's from God or whether it's from man. This is what we have to discern. So it is very important that you do not, because some of you are struggling. Some of you are struggling with jobs. And some of you are struggling with finances. And some of you are struggling with bad spouses. And some of you are struggling with bad children. And you're saying to yourself that I can't do this. But what does the Master Jesus say? What does the Lord Jesus say? But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. So if you are looking for your children to be blessed, if you are looking for your husband to be right, your wife to be good, if you're looking for your finances to be helpful, your finance to be blessed, then seek first the kingdom. Years ago when I was in England, these verses came to me and I was reading them, and a powerful revelation was given to me. Seek first His kingdom. And I did. And I was. And I always was. And great blessings lay before me. Baruch Hashem, the Master Yeshua. Great blessings in front of me. And this is why I said, the best is yet to come. Don't think to yourself that you're 80 years old. Because, somebody wrote to me and said, Rabbi, I'm 80 years old. So what if you're 80 years old? The blessing doesn't discriminate against your age. The blessing doesn't say, oh, that man is 80 years old and I can't enter his home. The blessing will still enter your home. But you got to be able to receive it. What you need to do is you want to be receptive to that blessing. You want to be open to it. And if you're not open to it, then you're not going to receive it. You got to be open onto it. And it says in Luke chapter 10, verse 19, I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. So your friends tell you, your relatives tell you that you're no good, that you can't be successful, you're a loser, you make bad choices, you will not succeed. This is coming from the enemy. The enemy, who is the enemy? Enemy is Satan. So Satan is telling you through people, because Satan is going to use people, your relatives, your friends, your so-called, buddies, your so-called, brothers and sisters and whatever. These are the very people that you like, that you are in kind of under, around. The people that you are around. The people that you are around are telling you this. You're not going to be successful. You made a bad choice. You're going to lose. You're going to do it another way. But what does God tell you? What does the Lord Jesus tell you? The Master tell you? He tells you that I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions. Who are these snakes and scorpions? These are the very relatives that you call your brothers and sisters, uncles and aunties, cousins. These are the very relatives that you rely on. These are the snakes and scorpions, by the way. They don't look like a snake. They don't look like a scorpion, but they bite. What they speak from their mouth is like it's like a scorpion. It bites you. It's like a snake. It bites you like poison that comes out of their mouth. It affects you because it affects your psychology. Your psychology goes down and down and down and down until you're on the floor and you're saying, what's happening to me, Lord? What have I done wrong? God, what have I done wrong? Why me? Why not my neighbor and why not my cousin? Because I see my cousin excelling and I'm on the floor. What did I do wrong? I don't see myself doing anything terrible. I didn't commit a terrible murder. I didn't go kill anybody. If I remember, I've been trying to live an upright life. I've been a good citizen of this country. I've tried to do the right thing. I tried to do my job. I tried to please my supervisor, my manager. What have I done wrong? It's the people around you. It's the people around you that you're listening to. They're poison. They're like scorpions. They're like snakes. They give you this voice. Remember, the voice of God is the blessing. And the voice of your enemy, Satan uses those people that you call relatives and friends and buddies, and they're the ones that give you this voice. Let me tell you something of interest. And this is something that happens in England a lot. This doesn't happen in here so much. I haven't heard it so much here. I knew people in England that when they would speak, they would say, my old lady. Whenever they said my old lady, I understood that meant their wife. So they would always refer to their spouse as my old lady. So they will never say my wife. They will not say my darling. They won't say my honey. They won't say, oh, my, beautiful wife. They will use that expression. Do not use that expression. That is a terrible expression. Terrible expression to use for your wife. Your wife is not an old lady, because every time you say that, my old lady, do you know what she's going to become? She's going to become a raggedy-taggedy old lady, because you're speaking that to her. You're putting that onto your wife. And if you're putting that onto your wife, then that's what she will become. She will become old very, very fast, and then, you know what you're going to do? You're then going to say, oh, I don't like this woman any longer. She is not pleasing to me. She's no longer sexy. I need to go find myself another wife. I need to go find myself another girlfriend. And you know what you will be doing? You'll be going straight, and you know what these people do? The people I'm speaking about? They go find another girlfriend, a mistress. So they have their old lady in the house, which is their wife, that they have made her old, and she becomes old because she doesn't want to do makeup, she doesn't want to wear nice clothes. They have spoken that to her. They have spoken that so many times that now that woman is really old. Not literally. She is not like she's 80 years old. But even if she's 20 years old, they have made her old through their speech. Their speech is poisonous. And that poison that they've been speaking all the time has made the very woman that they're married and they claim to have loved or love, is now no longer able to love. They're no longer able to love her. Because, oh, she doesn't do anything. She just sits there and eats, she just sits there and eats chips and she's getting fat now, and, that's what starts to happen. You see, it's called comfort eating. America has a lot of comfort eaters. And I'm pretty sure that there are some in this room as well, comfort eaters. What you do is that you're getting all this, garbage theology, garbage words, and you're taking it in. And you're taking it into yourself. And what happens is after you take it in, you become like that. You become despondent. You become like a recluse. You don't want to go out. If you're a woman, you don't want to go out. You want to sit in front of the TV, and that's what happens. And shalom to you, John, as well, in the name of Jesus. And so you become despondent. You start eating chips, what we call crisps in England. You start eating crisps, and you take a big packet, those big packets you get from Walmart, and you can chew through it in this one session. Finished, gone. Because you are despondent, because you're so, you become reclusive. You're in your living room, in your bedroom, in your TV room, and all you want to do is sit there and you want to sulk. You're sulking now. And you start becoming fat, and you start putting on weight, and you start thinking to yourself, I look ugly. And every time you look in the mirror, you say, I look ugly. You're speaking death to yourself. And partially the death is held by the people around you. So therefore it is very important that we change our vocabulary. We must change our vocabulary. And Rabbi Kiva is saying that before you know it, you're depressed and on pills. Oh yeah, some of these women are very depressed. They're on pills. All sorts of lotions and potions and cautions, So you mustn't do that. You mustn't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. We need to change our vocabulary. We need to tell ourselves we are blessed. We are a chosen people. We are a chosen generation. Speak life to each other. Speak not death but life. Speak blessings, not curses. I have heard a lot of these black people in North America who sit, who stand around corners in New York. They stand around corners in New York. You know what they say? Oh, we are cursed people. Oh, we have the curses, and therefore we are Israel because we are cursed. You know what they are doing? They are destroying themselves. They are destroying their families by doing that. And these people are clueless. So clueless that they are destroying themselves by their own tongue. They are using their tongue to destroy their lives. And lives of people around them, beautiful people around them, that are being destroyed because of their stupid theology. Very, very stupid theology. So you need to tell yourself, Yemisia, you need to tell your knee that you are going to get better. You're gonna have life. Speak to your joints. Speak to your joints if they are hurting. And tell your joints. Because by your tongue you give yourself life. And by your tongue you give yourself death. So I'm telling you, stop giving yourself death. I'm telling you, change your vocabulary. Next time you see your spouse, don't start with harsh words. I did that, by the way. I did that in the past, and I regretted doing it. But, and my excuse was this: she made me do it. Because, they know exactly how to turn your screws, and you become angry. And I'm sure many of you did that too. I'm not the only guilty party over here. Let's be honest about that. So, having said that, we've all done that. But I learned that I mustn't do that. I learned that if she's going to hurl insults at me, I shouldn't hurl insults back. I shouldn't do that. And you need to work on the tone of your voice, women and men both. You need to work on your tone, because your tone can speak anger, or it can speak politeness. Learn to be polite. Learn to say thank you. Learn to say please. Out of England, one thing I learned out of England, I always say thank you. I always say please. Wherever I go. Wherever I go to the post office, and I'll say thank you 3 times, when they're doing things for me, and I'll say please 3 times as well. We must learn good manners, good speech, wholesome speech. We need to have a tone of voice lowered. We need to say please with every word we speak. And we need to say thank you with every word we finish with. So when the postman does that job for you, that might keep us there all the time as well. I'm sure he's saying it. You know, when you say to them, I go to them and you know what I say? I observe people, right? I observe people, and people go up to the postal, you know, they go up to the postal guy and they will say, I like to post this, you know, or they just put the item on the weighing machine and put it on there and just stop, and the man will say, where'd you like to send this? Oh, this is going such so and so. That's how they go. Or they'll say, or they just walk up to the post guy and they will put the parcel down and they'll say, hey, can I send this? And he will do that. You know what I do? Listen to my speech. If it's morning time, I will go there and say, good morning, or good morning, sir. I'd like to post this, please, to so-and-so place. That is my speech. And when he's doing it for me, he'll do his little bit and he will say something, I'll say, yes, please, or he will finish with one part of the thing and he'll give me something back and I'll say, thank you. Then he'll give me something back again. I'll say, thank you again. Then they will give me another, so the seed back and I'll say, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye. That's my speech. Now you look at the difference of my speech with an American who's there, who just comes over there and says, hey, can you post this? No, please, no, thank you. But they do say before they leave, they do say, have a great day. Or have a blessed day. They'll say that, usually. But mostly these people will not even ask in the vernacular, please. And they need to. They need to do that. They need to say, before you approach somebody, you need to say to that person, could I please have this? You need to. I went to Walmart last week. I was in Walmart and this lady was there, was serving me, and I was wearing my clothes as I do, and she said to me, you look like $1 million. Where are you going? So I was like, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just around. She said, no, it looks like you're going somewhere. So people notice. People notice your dress. People notice your speech. So don't just get up like I see some people. Disgraceful. They go to Walmart and they're wearing pajamas. My goodness. Disgraceful. It's such a disgrace. Good manners, they do teach good manners in schools. Absolutely, Peppermint Patty, they do teach good manners. And I find it so disgraceful that people are in Walmart with their girlfriends, wives, or mothers, or fathers, and they're wearing pajamas. Such a disgraceful sight. So ugly as well. You got to go somewhere and wear something, wear something nice, and wear something that is pleasant. Don't just get up from your bedroom and you go over there and you're wearing pajamas and slippers. I just start laughing when I see that. I think this can't be me. This is not going to be me. I'm not that. Oh yeah, and they take their dogs in their store as well. They're absolutely disgraceful. It is just disgraceful. You shouldn't be dressing like that. What kind of information? And yeah, colors in their hair as well. Yeah, that too. What kind of information are you giving somebody else? Look, that woman saw me in my suit and she said to me, you look like $1 million. Okay, I wasn't trying to look like $1 million, but I was trying to look presentable. I always do. I look presentable. I don't just go out there in my pajamas and shorts with the flip-flops. I don't do that. So the point is this, that what are you presenting to the world? Same way your tongue. Don't say to yourself, because this is for you, James. James, you say to yourself, oh, I'm really depressed. I really, I feel low esteem, and I feel really down. You need to say yourself, James. You need to put this up on your board and say to yourself, I'm a great man. I'm a wonderful guy. I'm a kind man. God has created me for great things. You need to tell yourself, James, this is for you. No psychology out there, no hypnotherapy will help you. The only psychology that's going to help you is this. What are you going to say to yourself? What I'm teaching you here today. Write it on your door. The first thing you wake up in the morning, you read that. I'm a great man. Pray yourself. Lift yourself up. You are responsible for your life. Love yourself. If you love yourself, other people will also love you. It will rub off. You will see, it will rub off. But you need to train yourself like that. Speak good words to yourself. If you keep saying to yourself, I'm cursed, I'm cursed, I'm cursed, what's going to happen? I'm cursed. What do you think is going to happen? You made a self-fulfilled prophecy. Stop doing that. You need to stop doing that. You need to change your vernacular. Absolutely. You need to love yourself. I wake up this morning and I have this, you might pronounce it Givenchy. I pronounce it Givenchy, this perfume, and I give myself some on my body. I put some on my hand, a beautiful smell, and I say, what a great smell. I smell great today. So I tell myself, I smell great. I'm a great guy. So you've got to tell yourself that. Don't expect other people to tell you. Don't expect other people to tell you. You need to tell yourself, you're a great guy. You do great things. God has created you for great works. You tell yourself that, and these so-called people who come in the room who want to, establish, who want to establish one thing or another, I really don't have time for that. Boom, gone. Figment of his imagination. I'm not here fighting for a country. I'm not here fighting for the president. I'm not here, doing nasty things that are happening out there. I want to tell myself what has God created me for. Great things, great works, and you need to tell yourself. And you need to smell good for yourself. You need to dress nicely for yourself and for your public image. You need to. Oh, that Givenchy is beautiful. Beautiful perfume. Was recommended to me by my wife, by the way. I really like the smell of it. Nice smell. So you need to do that. So going back to the words of the Master Jesus, the Lord Jesus, what did he say? He said that I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions. Well, what are you doing about it? Are you not going to tell yourself that you're no good, that you're a loser, that you're depressed, that you're down, you're going to be just sitting there eating your chips? No, you've got to change all of that. You tell yourself that you have been given the authority by God to trample on snakes and scorpions. Start trampling those snakes and scorpions. When somebody tells you you're a loser, or when somebody tells you that you're no good, tell them, no, I'm great. I'm a great guy, actually. Reverse it. When somebody tells you that you're a cursed man, you say, no, I'm a blessed man. And somebody says to you that you'll never get anywhere, you say, no, I'm going places. God has blessed me. I'm going places. You watch me. You reverse it. You negate it. You start stepping on those scorpions and on those snakes. And they are scorpions and snakes. I don't care what they're in. I don't care they're in Torah. I don't care they're in disco. I don't care where they're in. I don't care what religious belief they claim themselves. I just don't care about it. As long as they're giving you these negative, stupid comments, ugly comments, you got to reverse it. Because they are the snakes and the scorpions in your life. Start trampling those snakes and scorpions. Especially those people that are putting you down on a daily basis. When a mother keeps telling her children that you're no good, you're worthless, what happens to that child? He grows up feeling worthless. He grows up thinking he's not going to do anything because his mother, the very person that gave him birth, that claims to love him, has put him down all of that person's life. So what do you think he needs to do? He needs to leave that rotten environment. He needs to leave that mother. He needs to go and he needs to tell himself, no, mama, I'm blessed. No, God has chosen me. I'm a child of God. No, I'm not cursed. I'm a child of the Most High God. He's chosen me. You've got to change it around. You've got to turn it around. Let's see what God tells us. In the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Yeshua, the Lord Jesus, he said that, come to me, all you are weary and burdened, I will give you rest. Well, are you coming to him? Or are you going somewhere else? Are you going for your rest somewhere else? Or are you going to him? I think you need to decide to go to him. Because he's going to give you rest if you're weary, if you're burdened, if you have that problem. Yemisia, you have that problem with your knee. So what? No problem. You speak health to your knee. You tell your knee that you're going to be healed. You tell that knee that you're going to get better. I speak healing to you. I speak life into you. And you will see that your knee will get better. You will see that your body will respond. Your body will respond to what you tell your body. I told you last week, we are the most complicated program. We're the most complicated piece of software that has ever been produced on this planet. Ever. This is what we are. We are a very sophisticated program that God has produced. And we can program ourselves, by the way. We can speak to ourselves those things that are going to benefit us. And we need to start doing them. So start finding the rest in God. Somebody says to you that you're no good. That nobody loves you because you're a bad man. But you tell them that God loves you. You tell yourself that. No, God loves me. I'm a child of God. And you have all sorts of negative people around you. They're giving you all sorts of negativity. And they say to you that you will never succeed. They'll give you a bad, you put a business up and your business is struggling, and they say you're not going to succeed. Your business is going to fail. But you say no. I give thanks to God. He gives me the victory through our Lord Jesus, through the Master Yeshua. 1 Corinthians 15:57. I'm going to give thanks to God. I'm going to get victory through Him. So you turn it around, and God will give you victory. This is not just mumbo jumbo. This is not legendary stuff. This is the legend stuff. These are the legends to happen. The best is yet to come. And what does God tell you? People will tell you that you're no good. You're a stupid person. And what do you say? You say, no, the Lord has told me otherwise. The Lord is great. He said, blessed is the one who takes refuge in Him. I take refuge in Him. I am blessed. So you're wrong. I am blessed. And you walk through some real hard situations. Maybe you had a problem with finances. Maybe you had a problem with job. Maybe you had a medical condition and you went to the doctor fearing, and the report turned negative. The report turned out against you. And you're now, oh my goodness, I'm going to deal with this disease now. What am I going to do? And what does God tell you? Even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will not fear evil. And what do you say? For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Who? God's rod and God's staff, they comfort you. Psalm 23:4. You tell yourself that. Even though I go through the valley of the shadow of death, but His rod and His staff are with me. They comfort me. And what does God say when people tell you that you're not gonna win? Your enemies are greater. You're just a one person, but your enemies are far greater than you. What does God say? Exactly what God said to Joshua. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Be strong and courageous. And this is what the Lord will do to all the enemies you're going to fight. Do not be discouraged. He says to you, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you. For Yahweh Elohim will be with you wherever you go. The Lord will be with you wherever you go. Be strong and be courageous. Take a stand. Take a stand for yourself. Everybody will tell you that, that business you started is going to fail. But you tell yourself, no. The business I've started is going to succeed. God is going to bless me through this business. And competition might be against you. Maybe you're outnumbered by the competition. Maybe the competition is greater. But you tell yourself, no, God will make a way for me. He will make a way for me and I will succeed. So you turn it around. And it is very important that we use speech. Speech is the biggest thing that our bodies respond to. Our bodies respond to speech. Now, let me tell you another secret. When nothing is working for you, you try and try and try, nothing works for you. I guess you know what you could do? You could ask the Kohen you could ask the Kohen to stand in the gate for you. And the Kohen will send over a blessing for you. Let me tell you something. This is a true testimony. there was somebody in the east who was struggling, who had no place to live, and they were going from room to room, renting rooms, room to room. And they found me. I didn't find them. I didn't even know who they were. And they found me, and they texted me. They sent me, they sent me some messages, and I responded to their message, and they said, "Oh, I'd like you to pray for me, Rabbi. I want you to pray for me. I heard about you." And I said, "Who?" I said, "Who told you about me?" Didn't tell me where they found me from. They just found me from somewhere. I don't know if it was Facebook. I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was YouTube. But I don't know where they found me, but they found me. And they're not like somebody who's always on the internet. But anyway, they heard about me. They found me. They came to me and said to me, "Pray for me because I'm struggling in my life. I'm having all these issues, and I have a child, and I have all sorts of problems around me. And my husband has left me. He's no good. He hasn't come back. He's not supporting. He's not doing anything. All of that going on." I said, "Okay, fair enough. So you shall be blessed. So you shall be increased." And I said, trust and wait on the Lord. Wait on the Master. Wait on the Master Yeshua. And it will come. And you know what started to happen? The moment that person came to me and she went away, you know what happened? She went from one room to the other. Now she was renting. And then what happened? A uncle, a long way distant uncle, found her one day out of the blue and said to her, "Come to me. I have a place for you to live." And he has a huge house. His house is into 3 apartments that he rents over there. And he gave her a place to live, free of charge. This is after she met me, by the way. She got a place to live free of charge. And you know what the uncle said? Uncle said, "It's been a long time since I heard from you. It's been a long time." And that person, by the way, is 7,000 miles away from me. If a Kohen's blessing can reach 7,000 miles away, think of the power that God has given through the Kohanim, what they can do. And so now she has a place to stay. Beautiful apartment. She's in the uncle's house in a safe place. No longer have to worry about rent. No longer have to worry about paying bills. All she has to worry about is food. And this person was despondent. This person was disheartened. This person was down. And I helped to lift her up. I said to her, "Stop thinking like that." I said to her, you now need to start washing your mind. You now need to start changing your mind and start changing the way you think. You come to the Kohen in the gate. I said, you don't know what's in front of you. You just don't know it. But time will tell you. Time will tell you who you're speaking to. And you know what happened? This woman is now started to, the transformation is already coming. It's already coming. And then what happened? I don't need to prove myself. People say to me, "Oh, can you show me a certificate? Can you show me evidence that you're the Kohen?" No, I don't need to do that any longer. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. God has already selected me. God has anointed me. He has given me that anointing. Everybody can see it. It will happen in your life and you will know it. That is your proof. And if you want more proof, no, I don't need to prove it to you. Why? Because I'm selected by God, not by you. I don't need your approval. I don't need your stamp to say I'm a Kohen. I don't need it. I really don't care. I don't care about your stamp of approval. My stamp of approval came from the heavens above. The Father has chosen me. He has given me that approval. And this person, my friend, my student that came to me, who is a true Israelite by blood. I know him because he told me, he said, "My family came out of Israel 2,000 years ago." That man is today sitting in New Zealand. He's a blessed man. People flock around him. People want to sit and listen to him. He's a greatly blessed man. Because guess what? The Kohen is behind him. That's why. And he's a blessed man. And of course he's a blessed man. And it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing that this man is blessed. Such a distance. And look what happened to him. I took him from Pakistan to Manila, right, to Philippines. From Philippines, I sent that man on his way to New Zealand. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine anybody doing that? Show me a single person who can do that today. Who can pick up somebody from the east and put him in some other country, and from there bounce him up to another country. Show me one man who can do that. But the God that I serve can. The God that I serve can do that. All I needed to do was speak on his behalf and say, let it happen. And it did happen. And he will one day go to Israel too. That is in the pipeline. That is also in the pipeline. It's not like he's not going to go to Israel, but see, all the people around him, you know what the people around him were doing? Oh, Abraham, take us with you. We want to be your friend. We want to be... See, all these people saw that. They saw this special, anointing around him. This man is blessed. This man is getting all these things done. They're coming to him. Abraham, we want to be with you. We want to go with you. Please take us as well. And he said, yeah, I will take you, but I need to consult with my rabbi first. He said, give me time, because I got to consult with my rabbi first. So all these people are coming around him. And because people see that spark. When he has that spark, they see it. Yeah, absolutely, Rabbi Keith. I mean, you have Aisha coming from there, your wife is coming from there. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing that God is doing all these things. And James is saying that I've received plenty of proof over the last 3 years. Every time a Cohen, son of Aaron, has stood in the gap for me, I instantly receive needed increases within 24 hours. No exaggeration. And that is true. I'm not going to raise myself up. That which is raised cannot be lowered. I'm not raised by myself. God has raised me. God has anointed me. I'm not going to raise myself. I have no power by myself. But by God, I'm very powerful. By God. Through God, I'm very powerful. To the Master Jesus. Now, how many people can today tell you that they heard the voice of Jesus right in their ear? Right at work. How many people can tell you that? Hearing a voice from God. And I did. I am that man. I'm that man that heard that voice. So therefore, I can't reject it. I have to go back to the voice. I had to go back to the voice. Because it is that voice that called me out. So I have to be faithful to that master, to that person. I can't be unfaithful. I decided that, at one point in my life, I decided that I'm going to be faithful to this person for the rest of my life. And that's how it's going to end. That's how it began, and that's how it's going to end. It's not going to be any different. So when everybody tells you, oh, you're not going to surpass this disease, you have an illness, the report is really bad, it's against you, doctors have said these facts, these are the facts that the doctors have given you, and what you going to tell them? No, my God is great, my God can turn these facts around, and my God is going to heal you. He's going to tell you that. God is going to tell you that. So you have to believe that. You have to believe that God is going to do it for you. So this is why I said, for James, this is for you. You are a great man. You will do great things. You will touch many people's lives positively. You need to tell yourself that. Don't ever tell yourself, oh, pity me, I have all these problems. No. Don't negate it. Don't negate it. Torah Walker is saying that indeed my son was in the hospital unexpectedly and I made a petition immediately to the voice of God. And my son is well and a good report from the doctor. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh. Indeed, absolutely. So we must be thankful. Africa was given a chance, but Africa blew it. Because Africa is unfortunately in all sorts of idolatries, illnesses, problems, lies, deceit, cheat. People like that will not be blessed. People who do these things will not be blessed. But if you remove yourself from such scorpions, remember I told you about the scorpions and the snakes. Remove yourself from the scorpions and the snakes and your life will be tremendously blessed. Remove yourself. If your family members are telling you you're no good, if they're telling you you won't succeed, you've got to remove yourself from those scorpions. And you've got to put those scorpions down in the spiritual. You're not going to start fisting them, you're not going to start beating them up, not in the literally, but you're going to speak in the spiritual. You're going to say, I am a blessed person. I am going to succeed. And your lies are not going to come over me. So you've got to start speaking positively about it. And I can tell you testimony after testimony after testimony. And I will tell you one day a testimony about the frogs. You know the frogs of Egypt? Remember the frogs of Egypt? One day I may tell you the testimony of the frog that came into my life. I tell you, it's absolutely amazing. I was absolutely amazed by it. this little frog. But I'll tell you that testimony another day. There's a lots going on in my life over here. I tell you, lots going on. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, Baruch Hashem, Master Jesus, Baruch Hashem for everything that's happening around me. But Rabbi Kifa has seen great blessings. How many people, Rabbi Kifa, how many people do you know that can turn something around, right, and give you a financial blessing for the remainder of your days? How many people you know like that? So, I mean, I don't know many people like that. I mean, I do know the Master Jesus, yes. He is that one person. But I'm talking about on the earth, physical present over here. So, I don't know anybody but myself. The only person I know is me. So, Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, for putting me over here for you, for your bracha. We can speak about the commandments, we can speak about the judgments, we can speak about the statutes, but what is important? What is important? Is it important that Miriam died in Saudi Arabia and they were hugely blessed? Her body lies there. And look at the blessings from that death. So, you might say, oh, well, my denomination told me that, you shouldn't go to the graves and you shouldn't go to the dead people. But look at that dead person's body. Look at Miriam's body in Saudi Arabia and look at the blessing. Would you go to her grave? Think about it. Ask that question. Would you go to her grave? And my answer is, I would. Yes. Absolutely I would. So the thing is that all this nonsense around you, remove the nonsense. All this nonsense, garbage, theologies around you. Oh, well, don't go to this person's grave. It's not going to help you. I'm telling you that the person that has died, a righteous person, you go to that righteous person's grave, and you're going to get from there, only righteousness will come out of a righteous person. Only blessings will come out of a blessed person. So is it right to go to the grave? Answer is evident. So I think we need to remove garbage theologies from ourselves, and we need to start teaching ourselves true Word of God, true factual Word of God. And I spoke about facts earlier, facts of the doctors, facts of medical science. God can alter those facts supernaturally in a second. But you got to walk by faith, not by sight. If I walked by sight, I would not be sitting here today. I would still be in London, I would still be doing my job, and I'll probably be getting my bonus every year, and I'll still be over there with my family. This is the honest truth. The honest truth is this: if I walked by sight, I would never be here today. Because of my faith, I am present. If I didn't have that faith, you would not see me here, ever, in North America. I would never leave my home. So you have a tremendous blessing, tremendous bracha, and our Pasha teaches us tremendous things. And if I start to uncover the principles and the procedures and the spirituality of that Pasha, then I think we'll be here all day and nobody will go and have their dinner or lunch or dinner. So I must give room to Rabbi Kifa to speak. I don't want to be just the speaker here. You heard me. You heard the blessing that God has been doing through me, and so with that I give you a bracha, I give you a blessing. I give you a blessing in the name of the Master Yeshua, Jesus, and I give you a blessing through our father Abraham, our father Isaac, and Jacob, that you be blessed. Those of you that are hearing this, write to me and tell me that you were blessed by this, and tell me about it so I need to know, so I can encourage other people. So with this I impart a blessing upon you. Baruch Shem Yahweh, may your name be forever and forever raised up. Master, Lord Jesus, I thank you that you've chosen me, to bless our people, that you've chosen us as a people to bless the world around us and to redeem them. Baruch Shem Yahweh. With that I pass it on to you, Rabbi Kifa. Todah. Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, Shalom.
Todah HaKohen, son of Aaron. This is what you must understand. We're dealing with the son of Aaron here. Ah, my goodness. Mishpahah, I know it's not time. Family, I know it's not time. I'm not given permission yet. But there will be a book that comes out about, really, following the Kohen, son of Aaron, and being in the midst of the son of Aaron. I mean, my goodness, it's just like, there's nothing to it. I've never seen so many miracles take place in my life than what took place these past 6 days of labor. It's just awesome. The things that I'm seeing physically take place. It's just awesome. I mean, I can't put it into other words. The best way I describe it is like this. If you could get a car if anybody, please, I'd like your response here. If your dream car, can anybody just text me what your dream car would be? You know, just text it in. He's like, Rabbi, if I could just have any car, I would want this car. Okay. Eddie says a Land Rover. Okay. Anybody else? A Suburban. Okay. Your just dream car. Shane Yah says a Lexus. Okay. James says an Impala, a Lamborghini. Okay. Yeah, name your cars. You know, claim them and name them and claim them. Yeah. Okay, a Lexus to a Land Rover. Okay. All right, great. All right, now, if you could you name your most beat up car? Aston Martin, another Lexus. Well, Lexus seem to be popular. Could you name like your worst car that you would never want to have? You'd rather walk on Tom and Jerry than to drive this car. What would be like your worst car? Like, just imagine your worst car. Ford Taurus, a Pinto. Okay, Pinto. Ford Taurus, a Yugo. Pinto seems to be very popular. Pinto. Okay, PT Cruiser. Pinto. Wow, Pinto is very popular. Okay, this is the best way to offer your responses. This is the best way to describe it. This is what happens with a son of Aaron. I'm going to tell you. This is the best way I've given permission to describe it. These past 6 days of labor, I've seen the Kohen take a Pinto, take a Yugo, right? And he turned that Yugo, I'm telling you, I've seen him make adjustments in that Pinto, in that Yugo, and it became a Lamborghini, it became a Land Rover, it became a Lexus from Texas. That's the best way I can describe it. That's what I'm giving permission to say right now. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it. And we're talking about a Land Rover, a Lexus, whatever, another one of your favorite cars, a Lamborghini that you can ride. It will never break down, and you can pass this Lexus and Lamborghini on to your children's children, and it will never need maintenance. You never need, if Rebe Zachariah is here, you never need to change the oil in it. Think about that. This is what I've seen these past 6 days of labor. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen a Kohen take a Pinto. He took a Yugo and he changed it into a Lamborghini. He changed it into a Lexus. He changed it into that Land Rover. I'm just amazed. And he's taking this, something that, and I've seen this time and time again from the sons of Aaron. They'll take what the Gentiles have, which is a good product. It's a good product. And he modifies it, and he makes adjustments in it, and it's just like, not 3 steps better, but it's like 20 times better, thousands times better, you see. So I tell you what, that's what I witnessed. I witnessed it with my own eyes. Matter of fact, I'm right in it. I'm the one driving that Lamborghini now. I'm driving that Land Rover. It's attainable. It's attainable. Listen, to the point to where, that's all I can say. That's all I can say for now. But Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh. Baruch Hashem to Master Yahushua. It's just amazing. Now, I say that to say this as well. Is that this came with a lot of persistence. This came, I tell you what. The formula, the pattern for this is it came in adversity. It seemed like when, everything was going against you, it came in a period of loss. In a period of loss, when you may have lost something. This is a great lesson, so instructional to our daily living. Is that even in loss, when you think, because you see loss, that's all you think about is loss, and you can't get ahead. But it's during that loss to where the greatest gain took place. It's during that loss to where you make changes. You don't give up, but you make changes, you make modifications, and things get even better. I learned such a great lesson these past 6 days of labor. With that very lesson, that very premise. The point of losing. You could be either losing a relationship, losing financially, losing a job, losing your health, like some of you may be having health issues. These are the greatest opportunities for you to see the great works that the God of Israel is with you, that the God of Israel is with you in your exile. The God of Israel is not sitting over there in Israel. I'm letting you know right now. He's not waiting at the temple, sitting down and saying, I can't wait till they hurry up and just, reestablish the temple here in Jerusalem so that I can, show my great power. He's in the exile with us. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahushua. Baruch Hashem, Master Jesus. The Kohen is saying, son of Aaron, failure is the beginning of success. The greatest loss is the greatest will be the success. The greatest the loss, the greatest will be the success. You must understand that. But in today's time, 2018 going forward, let's just be real. This is a bunch of rubbish words that people don't really take to head and begin to really apply this in their life, because they're still stuck on the loss where they can't see the success. That's just it's a step away and they can't see it because they still pondering and floundering in the loss. You see, that's the problem. But when the loss comes to me, you know what I learned from being with the sons of Aaron? When the loss comes to you, that's when you put all in. That's when you go even 110% more. Oh yeah, so I lost. So then now you go even 110% even more. You don't give it, you don't give up, and you don't give in. And you don't have these pity pat stories where you're feeling sorry for yourself. Oh, woe is me. I can't make $1 out of 15 cents. Well, if you keep thinking like that, that's just how it's going to happen. You're going to always continue to have that 15 cents. While when you're within the confines of the Torah, because you got to be all in, Mishpachah, with Torah. And then Torah will be all in with you. But it's not just lip service, but Torah's going to actually put you in situations to validate and verify if you're going to be all in with the laws of Moshe, with the laws of Moses. It's not just a bunch of lip service here. This is not a religion. This room that you're in is not a room where religion abides. This is a room where a lifestyle, a way of life abides. This is what you must understand. Your daily living. How do you live? How you get on with your neighbor? You see? This is what you must understand. And I tell you, and I've noticed that in the Son of Aaron's lectures as well. I can remember back in the day, we would do seminars, and the Son of Aaron, he would teach and he would teach. We'd be up in the Ramada, and he's teaching and teaching for hours. We'd be taking breaks and just teaching and teaching theology and stuff like this. A lot of this stuff was going over people's heads. Some people would get the revelations, but then, what is it? I can guarantee you a lot of those people that went to these seminars that we had, they're not even here today. So what good was that for them? So the application, I hope you've heard that and learned something from that. It's the application in your daily lives in 2018. How do I take that Torah today in 2018 and apply it in my life so that I can be blessed, so that I'm in compliance with the God of Israel? That's what you need to examine. How am I obedient to the God of Israel? Am I doing the will of the Abba that's in heaven? Because that's what the Master Jesus said. Not everyone that says, Lord, Lord, is going to get into the kingdom of Shemayim, the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Ab, the will of my Father. You see, it's all about doing what God says according to God, not what God says according to man. And if we talk about a kingdom, right, a kingdom's got to have some structure, it's got to have some order, and you have to obey kingdom rules. As you're seeing with this border issue that we have here in this kingdom, here in North America. I mean, we have rules. We have immigration rules, right? We have stipulations. There's rules that must be followed. I mean, any kingdom worth its weight that's considered great, even in today's time, they're going to have rules. Now, kingdoms that's in shambles, these are kingdoms that don't have rules, and they don't stick to them. You understand? I hope you all understand that. The Son of Aaron gave such a great lecture about how it's important on how, not how other people perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. How many of you in this room can honestly say, I have a bad perception on how I perceive myself? Anybody in this room could admit that? Put up a capital P if that's you. If you can say, yeah, I mean, I've never been taught and always been conditioned just not to worry about myself and to treat myself lower and lower myself down. And it's contagious either way. It can go good for you or it can go bad for you, Mishpahah. Because you know what I do? And it is contagious. You know, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I've been in the medical profession as a nurse for over 24 years. Pediatric nursing. I love the babies. But in interacting with these babies, I'm in homes because I do home nursing. You see, I deal with the most critical of all babies. Basically, the hospital send them home to die. The doctors tell the moms, oh, you got a few weeks left with your baby and make your funeral arrangements because they're going to be dead. But what happens is these babies get home and they begin to thrive. And they begin to flourish. And they begin to get nourishment because they're placed in a home environment and not in these disease-infested hospitals. Because how many of you know that's where the diseases are, at the hospital, right? Because when you're sick, where's the first place you go? To the hospital. So all the diseases are staring you in the face. Matter of fact, the diseases are opening the door for you. They're like, hey, come on in. Come on into this luxurious, beautiful hospital. Come on in. They're opening the door for you. Come on in, my friend. Have a seat. So these babies get home and they thrive. And they sometimes, from what I've seen with my own eyes, is they outlast their parents. They have long lives. Why? It's because they put in a place where there's love and they're nurtured and they're talked to, and they're not just seen as the specimen. Experiment number 65723. Yeah, this baby. You know, so they're not put in that kind of environment. They're in an environment of positivity, not negativity. And I think that's what, every household that I've been in, and I think that's being a child of Israel, is that we have particular, just like the son of Aaron. I mean, I'm not on his level, but, we have an essence about us that brings healing. And so every case that I've been with, these babies live a long time. They don't die. I've never had a baby die on me. Now, I had a baby's parents die on me before, but I never had a baby die on me. There's life within us as the children of Israel. It's a power. It literally is like I believe that. And guess what? People are attracted to us. Believe me, they are. They may not admit it, but because it's what we emit from ourselves. Like, I'm a very positive person. I'm a people person. I love people. I go in the post office. I just don't say hi and bye and thank you, sir, and yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm sitting there, and I ask them. I know them by name. I've been going there forever and a day. But I know them by name. Hey, how you doing? How's your family? And one of them, I tell you, he just, his name is Romeo. He just bought a house. He's building a house now. Sold his last house. I mean, hey, how's your house building going? How's the family? Everybody okay? He's got a son that's incarcerated. Because he see all of these Torah tools going into prison. And he's like, hey, did you know my son is incarcerated as well? I said, I didn't know that. So we strike up conversation. So it's just deeper than just hi and bye. You get to know these people. And believe me, when you do that, it's contagious, man. People will talk to you. You'll make their day better. But one thing I always like to say, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I like to say this a lot, especially when it's raining. I tell people this, and they gravitate to me because people like to be around a positive people, happy people. And by the way, you all need to go look this up. You all need to go look up. They just came out with a study of the list of a census of the happiest states to live in America. They just came out with it for 2018. I would encourage you to go Google it. Maybe some of you need to move to some of these happy places. And believe me, Florida and Texas were on the list, just to let you know. They were like in the top 5 on some of these studies. Just want to be around happy people. States here in North America. The happiest states in North America. Maybe try to Google that. And you get an idea of a good environment, a good place. You know, if you're happy, I mean, your health will be a lot better if you're happy. Laughter's like a medicine. It can cure a lot of things. But I always like to tell people this, especially when it's raining. I like to use that. I say, you know what? I'm sugar. I tell them like this. I said, I'm sugar, and sugar melts, so I don't go out in the rain. People look at it, but I'm dead serious. I tell them that with a straight face. I say, you know what? I'm sugar. I'm just like sugar, and sugar melts, so I just don't get wet. You all need to be sugar to the Gentiles. Everybody seems to be attracted to sugar. You see, even bees like sugar. Sugar melts, baby. Sugar melts. That's what I tell them. I say, sugar melts, baby. I say, I'm not trying to go out here and get wet, because sugar will melt. So they start laughing. But they gravitate towards things like that. So I believe in what the son of Aaron is saying, how to, you got to be positive in life. And I'm telling you another thing. Another thing that's very important, because remember, a light does. It don't say anything. It just does. And we need to do a lot in the area of how we communicate. Not how other people perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves. And then those that are meant to gravitate towards you will be those with the problems, because you're polar opposite of the problem. You ever notice that? When somebody has a problem, they don't want to go to people with a whole bunch of problems. They want to go to the reciprocal of somebody that they see as being a problem solver. Are you understand what I'm saying? This is what the sons of Aaron are for Israel. They're the problem solvers. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the red heifer, because that's out of my league. And you're going to read, and we're going to read in Torah, is that the red heifer is not for me anyway, to be trying to break down. How many of you seen YouTube videos about all these so-called rabbis on TV trying to help you understand the red heifer and what it really means? But do you understand it's not their remit to break down how the red heifer really is? Why? It's because they don't have the mandate to break down the red heifer. Who's the only people that has the mandate to break down the red heifer? But the sons of Aaron. Last time I checked, Torah will give you the facts on that as well. But the problem solver. So yeah, we're not doing the red heifer today, 2018. We have no functioning temple. But time and time again, and just like this Parsha bears out as well, we have to look to get our problem solved and to fix ourselves, so that we can be in land compliance and meet land requirements. We must go to the problem solvers for Israel, for call Israel, and that's the sons of Aaron. I'm going to keep saying this until the cows come home, until the master brings us back into the land. You all must understand this. Sons of Aaron is the key to your blessings, and is the lack of your success. Period. That's full stop. Now, while Hakoim was giving his lecture, I'll tell you this. The Hokmah told me to write this down, Rebbe Benia. She told me to write this down, and I'm gonna read it just like it was given to me. Our faith is in our feet. Think about that. Everybody talks about faith. Think about that. Our faith is in our feet. Think about what I just said. You're like, what the heck you talking about, Rabbi Kifa? Faith in your feet? It's true. And if your name is Faith in this room, no offense. I'm not talking about your faith. No offense, Faith. Your faith is in your feet. Can anybody kind of start to glean where Hokmah's taking us there? Your faith is in your feet. Who understands that? Who understands that? Now, let me explain something to you. Gotta move, right? You gotta get on the water. Your faith is in your feet. You can talk about faith all day long. Last time I checked, you can't see faith. If the son of Aaron, Hakohim, if he would have just believed on faith with his sight, he would have never been here. He'd have never came to North America, because you can't see. You can't see beyond. You can only see what your eye can see. You can't see beyond that. Can sight walk? Can sight move? I mean, people are throwing around faith like candy, but they have no understanding of what faith really is. And what I want to do in my lecture today is to show you from this parasha, from a great example of a mistake made by Moshe. The greatest leader, the greatest teacher, the greatest prophet, the greatest king, the greatest priest of all. Kohen HaGadol. Moshe. How his mistake, how we can learn from his mistake. And we can learn about what belief really is and what faith really is. Faith is in your feet. I want y'all to write that down and use that during your 6 days of labor. Reba Bonilla says, water up to the neck, still exercising that faith. Indeed, Chief Keeper. Oh, indeed, Reba Bonilla. Faith is in your feet. Many of you, just like our Kohen, son of Aaron, was saying in his lecture, you still see faith with your eyes. You see? And that was the problem with the congregation of the children of Israel in this parasha, while in contention mode, because they was contending, not having no water. The worst thing you could do at that time is begin to ask questions. When all hell is breaking loose, you asking questions, you need to be moving. If your building is burning down, your house is burning down, are you going to stay in that house and say, I wonder why my house is burning down? Or are you going to get on Tom and Jerry, that left and right foot, and begin to, move your gluteus maximus up out of that house before you die of smoke inhalation, or your house crumbles on top of your head? See, many of you needed to hear that faith is in your feet, because you've been claiming faith up and down chock-a-block. Every day you say you're faithful to the God of Israel. But the God of Israel said, what's in your feet? What do your feet say? You see, because your feet don't talk. How many of you look down at your feet right now and tell them Shabbat Shalom and see if your feet going to talk back to you? They're not going to do it. But what your feet do is they do. They take steps. That's what I want you to learn. Here's something that really came to me. Now, I had to ask this question to myself. I was like, Keeper, any of you ever thought about this? And I wrote this down too, Reba Bonilla. I wrote this down. Any of you ever thought about this? Now we're going back to creation. We're going to go back to creation here. We're going to take it back to creation for a minute. Any of you ever asked this question? Why did the Creator create us with feet? With a right foot and a left foot. You ever ask yourself? Look, I think about stuff like this. But even, there's great lessons that are built into creation itself. Why were we created with feet, Mishpahah? Any of you ever, probably none of you think of questions like this. A lot of you too worried about your bills and trying to make $1 out of 15 cents and all this other stuff. But, Baruch Hashem, Master Yahushua, I have time to think about questions just like this. How come the Creator, didn't create us to, and get this word, to levitate, or to squirm, or to crawl? I mean, think about this. You ever wondered why we were created with feet and legs? Why 2 legs? And not just, we could just gravitate or levitate. I mean, how come we just can't swim everywhere? Or, fly? You ever ask this? I mean, this is important stuff. It's an important question, Mishpahah. You think about this. Now, let's take it back to your faith is in your feet. Your faith is in your feet. Wow. Isn't that heavy? That's some heavy stuff. That is some heavy stuff. Your faith, you see, the Catholics, I can tell you about the Catholics and the Christians. Yael said he wanted us to stay grounded in him. Well, if that's the case, how come we How come we not squirming like snakes then? You can't get no lower to the ground than a snake squirming on the ground. Think about that. And here's another question I always ask this. You know, everybody born, everybody gonna die. Except those that, live, go, see the next world while in this world. Baruch Hashem, because there's gonna be some that see that won't die. Wow. Imagine that. But when you die, right, think about this. Listen to this. How come they bury you if they're not trying to cremate you? How come they bury you with your face facing up towards the heavens? You ever thought about that? How come when they put you in the ground, you're facing, how come they don't have your booty, your butt going towards heaven? How come your face is facing up to the heavens? You ever thought about that? You see, these are questions, right? As we deal with creationism and how the Creator created these intricate bodies that we have, that, my goodness, that even the medical science is still finding out about new organs or new nuances of the body that they didn't know about, and functions of the body they don't know about. Regardless if you believe in a God or not, you laying down in that grave, your body's facing up towards the heavens. Wow, that's heavy. It's a great lesson in that as well. So why are we created with two legs? Why we weren't created to fly? Why we weren't created to crawl? Why we weren't created to sliver on the ground like a snake? Think about, but to take steps. We're getting to a point here. To take steps, you must take steps. I call it Tom and Jerry, left foot and right foot. And there's nothing wrong with walking. But here in the West, many people don't like to walk too much, opposed to what I see in the East. In the East, man, people like to walk. I tell you, maybe Shane, y'all can vouch for this as well. I never walked so much in my life until I went to China. Man, my goodness. I was like, you guys, no taxis or something. I was walking. I wasn't doing what Forrest Gump was doing. He was running. I was walking. I mean, walk everywhere. Just walk. Walk. Walking everywhere. They don't do that too much here in the West. We always trying to get in somebody's automobile to get where we need to get over here in North America. The average home here in North America has at least, 2.5 cars, because some people have motorcycles. So to get around, we use this kind of transportation. So your faith is in your feet. Your faith is in your feet. Now let's begin to open up the Torah and begin to really understand what's going on in this parasha a little bit, and understand where we need to go. Because like I said earlier, you see, who has the authority to even teach on the red heifer? Let's see what Torah says here. Torah tells us in Numbers chapter 19, verse 1, that Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, this is the ordinance of the Torah, which Yahweh has commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer without spot, wherein there is no blemish, and has never been yoked. And look at verse 3. And you shall give her to Eleazar, the Kohen, the priest. Now, let me stop right there. God is speaking to Moshe and Aaron, giving Israel specific steps, specific instructions to follow. Now, what's the whole premise of this red heifer as it comes to the children of Israel? What does this mean? What does this mean? Now, if you notice right here, Parsha in Numbers chapter 19, verse 2 is speaking to the children of Israel. I want you to remember that. Remember that point. But what is the purpose? What is the purpose of the What is the purpose of the red heifer? As it pertains to what does it do for the children of Israel? This red heifer. Anybody tell me that read their parsha? Anybody tell me that know about our Hebrew history? What's the purpose? Why the red heifer? Why go through these intricate steps? You know, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Why? Why do that? Why is this so important to where this is the, you know, you look at this is the time even the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, become unclean. Wow. Isn't that something? So, what is this all about? As you know, the son of Aaron has been teaching us this for a while now about the difference between being, you know, ritually pure and ritually unclean, or ritually clean and ritually unclean. And that's important. Even more so, it's going to be more important when we get into, you know, back into the land. Okay, it's dealing Lion Princess. Get off of that, Lion Princess. I know y'all may be getting a little bit sleepy already, getting that Shabbat rest, and I do understand. But it's about, you know, the cleansing and purification. But what does Torah say about it as well? There's one word I want to clue in on. Can anybody tell me that one word? Because, you know, when we become, let me give you a hint, because I like to play, you know, hints. The hinting game. When we become unclean, how does that affect our relationship? When we become ritually unclean, how does that affect our relationship with the Master Yahweh? Okay, Yael 110 talking about menstruation and sex. There you go, Yael 110. Ding, 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 you get the prize. Torah talks about separation. There's a separation that's going on here, right? So that's how it pertains to the children of Israel. This red heifer. It's the key to the what? It's the kryptonite to the separation. Because what separates us from the God of Israel is being impure, either ritually or in other kind of ways. Because this is an important point that you're going to really have to understand. And Torah is really trying to explain this to you. When you're separated from the God of Israel, how do we fix it? Who do you have to go to? As the children of Israel. I must specify that. You see, because too quickly, being in the land, being outside of the land, we have a big problem to where we judge the Gentiles with a Hebrew standard, with Hebrew law, with the laws of Moses. And we can't do that. You see, because when the Gentiles are separated, let me tell you about the Christians. When they separated from their God, they go to the priest. And they say a couple of Hail Marys on the rosary, and everything is groovy. Everybody happy. You go about doing what you do, commit some old sins, and then you go see the priest. The Catholic priest, that's what you do. Now, for the Christians, how many of you been Christians? You know what they do, right? They just, you know, they under grace, right? Christians are under grace. So there's no separation because the God of the Christians is a God of love, you see? There's a God of love. Don't they have to pay some money? Who are you talking about? Catholics don't have to pay no money. You just have to say some prayers. You have to confess your sins to the Catholic priest. And then you say some prayers. I used to be an altar boy. I went through catechism. I did all that stuff. So believe me, I know about some Catholicism. I know about that. No, you don't have to get no money to pay your way out of your sins. No, you just have to confess them to a priest. Confess all your sins, and then the priest will give you instructions on what you need. How many Hail Marys you need? How many Our Father prayers you need to say? How many rosaries you have to say? So I'll tell you all that. But the pattern for the children of Israel, Tadaw for asking there, Yael, woman of the tent, because you don't ask, you'll never know. So the pattern for the children of Israel is to do what? Is that to fix that separation, to bring unity, because now you're separated from the God of Israel. How many of you know? You see, this stuff is very important because guess what? When the temple is functioning and you try to go in the Master Yahweh's house and you think you just going to go in the temple any kind of old way, guess what will happen to you? If you're ritually unclean, guess what will happen? You're going to get zapped. You're not going to survive it. You know, so this is important stuff. So look, read between the lines of what Torah's trying to tell you here. It's ground level stuff here. This ground level stuff. Is to fix the separation with the God of Israel that the children of Israel have, is that they have to go to the sons of Aaron. Do you see that? How many of you see that? How many of you say, wow, yeah, I do see that? Is that's and guess what? That's the only way. That's the only way, Mishpahah. There's no plan B for that. So, yes. So, minus a temple. Now, okay, y'all see that? Tadafa your responses. Now that you see that, it's important that you understand, 2018, we don't have a functioning temple. We're not doing the red heifer. We don't have no ashes of the red heifer. But guess what? We do have a son of Aaron. So to bring that union or reunion back to the God of Israel as the children of Israel, the first thing you have to do is go see the Kohen. You got to go to the sons of Aaron, because there's still things that you must do. It may not be red heifer, but how many of you know, listen, I had to go to him. Because listen, I was steeped in Catholicism, all up in the non-denominational churches. I needed to get cleaned up. So you have to go, you have to go to the sons of Aaron to begin your clean-up process. Even in 2018, you can't blow it off and say, oh, well, there's no red heifer, so I'm just going to stay impure and separated from God. And you see, Christians, they see this, and they say, man, that's too many steps to take. I don't like y'all faith is in y'all feet issue, because that's just too many laws to follow, these ordinances, these commandments, these statutes. That's too much. You know, y'all way of life is too full of laws. Isn't that what Christians say? About the laws of Moses? Oh, it's just too many laws. To where you just can't keep up. You can't keep up. It's just impossible to please God. But no, it's not. It's very easy. See, but they use that as an excuse. Because look, they don't want their faith to be in their feet. They want their faith to be in what they can see. Not in their feet, but what they can see. Oh, yes. And he died on the cross for me. And my sins are washed away. That's some of that hairy-fairy, fictitious sight. That's some of that Hollywood wink sight that, oh, well, yes, and he died for my sins and I live under grace now. And I can still do wrong because God loves me and he will never forsake me. And Jesus died for my sins. Little do they know that Jesus was a Jew. You see? But that's where they are. So you got to leave them in their sight thing. You see? But for us Hebrews, descendants of of Abraham, we have to look at our feet. Don't matter if you have small feet or big feet, or feet like, Bigfoot, or if you have tiny feet like the hobbits. Doesn't matter. But it's what you do with those feet that you have. It's what you're doing. It's what you're doing, Mishpahah. It's the steps that you're taking. And if one thing the parasha brings out, especially with the red heifer, is that you must follow steps. And also to reunite the children of Israel back with the God of Israel, to where the temple is open to you and you're not going to get zapped, is that you must go through the sons of Aaron. Eleazar, son of Aaron. You must do that, Mishpahah. This is the beginning to your success. You skip this step. If you haven't done that transgression offering done in ignorance, then you haven't even, you skipping steps. You can't skip steps. You see, Torah doesn't allow you room to skip steps with the red heifer, process and procedure. You must follow those steps. And they're clear as day. They're written out, done. Just how many days you're going to be unclean. Daughter of Zion 3 says, no sidestepping. Absolutely right. You see, you can't sidestep Torah. You can't skip steps. Now you're starting to see YDM Hokmah said your faith is in your feet, but your steps that you take have to be right steps. I mean, if you know, there's a lot of people stepping, but they stepping into wrong areas and wrong places. And maybe some of you, we all done this at one time or another. I was stepping in Catholicism and in Christianity. These were the wrong steps. So that process needed to be cleaned up now. I had to clean up that process and begin to do the right steps. How can I consider myself even partially righteous when I'm not taking the right steps? This is why it's even more important for us. 2018 going forward, it's vital for us to have that son of Aaron. It's because we're minus a red heifer. We're minus a functioning temple. We're minus those things. But what makes up for those? I mean, these are heavyweights. Red heifer, that's heavyweight stuff, man. That's above my pay grade. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Red heifer, way above Judah's pay grade. I mean, it's above my pay grade. I can't touch that. Like Hammer say, can't touch it. Standing temple, my goodness, fully operational temple, man, that's heavyweight stuff. But even with all that tipped on one scale, guess what balances all that out? There's only one son of Aaron. Only need one. Only one son of Aaron. Isn't that something? Only one son of Aaron can do that. It only takes one. And it tipped all those scales. Matter of fact, it'll weigh heavily on the side of the son of Aaron, where he's on that side where we put him at. It'll outweigh the temple and the red heifer. You see, because we still, 2018, we have the voice of God. We have the ear of God right there. As the children of Israel. I must specify that. Because there are some in the congregation of Israel that are not the children of Israel. How many of you understand that? We're going to read about that in a minute. You see, this is why I want to point to the fact that Torah says here in Numbers chapter 19, verse 2, this is the ordinance of the Torah which Yahweh has commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel. I want you to remember that. Speak to the children of Israel. It didn't say speak to the Catholics. It didn't say speak to the Baptists or the Pentecostals or the Christians. Didn't say that. It say speak to the children of Israel. So the only ones that are given mandate for the red heifer will be the sons of Aaron. They're the ones that's given the mandate, and I can guarantee you a lot of those hidden mysteries aren't even for you and I to even understand or to be divulged to us. So be it. But what we need to understand is to fix our separation, and we have to go to the sons of Aaron to make our separation with the Master Yahweh to put us back in good standings and reunite us. That's what you need to understand as the children of Israel. You just can't walk around here ritually unclean all the time. Now, for a while, we were just doing it in ignorance because we didn't know no better. But you see, the ignorance factor is kind of all the way washed out. It's washed out with the sons of Aaron in our gate. You can't claim ignorance. It's because the fixers are already here. The sons of Aaron, they fix these things. They're the problem solvers. How many of you in this room, you had a problem solved by the son of Aaron? Just put up a capital P if that's you. If you in this room and you had a problem solved by the son of Aaron. You see, look at my goodness. For you, let's look at MP3. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and counting. Still going, Mishpahah. Of folks that had a problem solved by the son of Aaron. Now, I can guarantee you, you may have not liked what the solution was or the procedure to get out of your problem. I probably wasn't comfortable. It probably didn't feel good. But guess what you had to do? Your faith, I can guarantee you, your faith had to be in your feet. Your faith couldn't have just been, oh, well, yeah, I see what you're saying, son of Aaron, and you just leave it like that. Your faith had to be in your feet. That's the key. if your problem was solved successfully, your faith was definitely in your feet. You had to take some steps. You had to follow the steps to the T. You just can't, like some daughter of Zion said, you can't sidestep. You can't skip steps. No, this is one of those things that you buy on Amazon and you got to read the directions. You just can't open the box and start putting it together. No, you must read the directions, and more importantly, you must follow the steps. You know, China has caught on to this big time. You know I love China. Second home. That's second base right there. I love China. China has learned from its mistakes because China has always had a rap when it comes to manufacturing things. It's like, how many of you understand? You hear about these jokes about Chinese materials and manufacturing. They'll make stuff, but it'll break on you quick. How many of you heard that? You get stuff made in China, it's going to last you for about a week, then it's going to be broke. Well, guess what? Guess what the Chinese did? Now they set up a system. It's an automated system. They call it the MES or something like that. But this system is, you don't have a physical supervisor. Your supervisor is a computer. I was watching this. I was like, this is awesome. Their supervisor is a computer. And each man, they have a little card with their picture on there and a barcode that they scan. A QR code or whatever. They'll scan that into the computer, and that computer is their supervisor. They fired all the supervisors. So now in their manufacturing plants, guess what? Now, especially in this one, this is one of the top of the line manufacturing plants, and guess where it was at, Shenyang? It was in Qingdao. See, Qingdao makes about 50% of their high-speed bullet trains. High-speed bullet trains in Qingdao. Now, the Chinese have the fastest trains clocked in the world. They manufacture and build the fastest planes. I mean, not planes, but trains. And they said some of their trains now they're building can go faster than a plane. Can you believe that? Well, anyway, back to this MES system. So they fired all the supervisors. This is what they did in this plant. And this plant has become very successful. And they let this AI computer, each person will go in, the technician will go in, scan their card on their computer, and that computer will tell them their task for the day. And what happens is that computer, not only does it tell you your task for the day, once you hit the first task, and you can't skip the task. You can't say, well, I'm going to go to task number 4, and then I'll come back to task number 1 because it's easy. No, you must follow them in sequential order. Now get this. Once you click on the first task, I saw this, I was like, this is amazing. The computer tells you exactly step by step how to assemble that particular part of the train. Step by step. And you must do every step in that order, or the computer won't let you finish. I was like, man, this is the best supervisor in the world. I was thinking, man, maybe Elon Musk ought to get this kind of system, and it'll help him fix his M3s, the M5s that he's trying to make with Tesla. Because them things seem to be smoking up, burning up, and all this other stuff. You need to take the man, because I'm thinking that they're doing stuff out of steps. You see, and that's affecting the manufacturing. Now, you need to learn from China. China fired all the supervisors. So now, with this computer, you have to follow the steps. I mean, it's all color enhanced in 3D. Shane, now you probably like this. It's all in 3D. And you just do exactly what the computer tells you to do. It's your supervisor. And you must follow step 1, step 2, and under step 2 may be an A, B, and C. You must do that in particular order. Now do you see why their bullet trains are the fastest in the world? It's because they follow the steps in China now. They cut out man's, whatever issues that he may have. One day the supervisor may be mad because his wife beat him up last night, or, his wife didn't give him no loving last night, or they got in an argument or whatever, so he comes in with attitude, and, he halfway gives you the job, this, that, and just so, just stuff just starts off in disarray. But now all of that is erased now. All of that's just kicked out the window. You see, because now the new supervisor, he don't show no emotions. He's just going to give you the steps. He's just going to give you the steps. And you can't do the steps out of order. I was like, wow. I was like, Keefa, this is amazing. This is amazing. And now their trains are the fastest in the world in China. Bullet trains. Now people, and Shane Yah's wife will attest to this, people can work in one city and live in another. No problem, because the commute is so quick on these bullet trains. No problem. Not a problem. Fastest in the world. And they still trying to go faster. Now, for those of you who didn't know, guess what else is going on down the pipeline? You won't have to fly to China from America anymore. They're actually building a train line all the way. It's going to go up through Russia, through Canada, all the way to China. They're building a train system to where you don't have to fly to China more. You can take a train. Think about that. Technology is something else, man. Awesome. I'll probably be the first one on that train. I said, awesome. You get a little more comfort on that train than you would on the plane, I think, my opinion. So I think these things are important for us to understand when we go back to following the steps. So for the children of Israel, when you swipe your card, your QR card, you need to be swiping it into the sons of Aaron. And then they're going to give you the steps, step by step. You follow this, you're going to be successful. You're going to be the blessed of the blessed. Because you're following the steps. You're following the steps. We need to learn from this on many different levels. You're not sidestepping. It won't allow you to, but you're following step by step. Now I understand why the Master, when he created us in his images, he created us with 2 feet, 2 legs. It's because we're supposed to take steps. Now, what I really want you to understand about steps as well is that your steps don't have to be big. Your steps can be very small. But those small steps equate to something larger than you could ever imagine. How many of you understand what I'm saying? So how many, to get from point A to point B without a car, you have to walk. So to get from point A to point B, the first thing you have to do is take 1 step. Only one. You don't have to take 50. You just have to take 1 step, Mishpahah. But your steps have to be ordered. Your steps have to be ordained. Think about that. This is where the sons of Aaron come in. Reba Benia says, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step indeed. Oh, indeed, Reba Benia. But many of you want to start sprinting. Can't do that. You just have to take 1 step. When the Master created us as human beings, when he formed us from the dust of the ground, he didn't make it on an instant for us to, when we take a step, it's like a sprint. He didn't create us to sprint, per se. He created us to be able to walk with a left foot and a right foot. And you take a step. You see? And you take a step. You don't sidestep. You just take a step. And then guess what you do after you take that step, Mishpahah? Can anybody give me the sequence after you take that first step? What happens next? Pray tell. After you take that first step, then guess what you do next? You take the second step. Can anybody tell me what you do after you take the second step? After you take the second step, guess what you do? You take the third step. Wow, is this difficult? No, it's quite easy. But then why we make it so difficult? Some of us we don't even want to walk. We don't even want to step. We don't want to step. We want to stay in our chairs. We want to stay in our beds. Have everybody feel sorry for us. We must begin to take, but again, here's the caveat in all of this, is that we have to take the right steps. So for Israel to reunite with the God of Israel in 2018, it's not going to be through a red heifer. It's not going to be going to the temple, because the temple is not in operation in Israel. So those 2 factors, we must nix those 2. We must take those out of the equation right now. Believe me, they'll come into play later. Because here's the thing that you have to ask yourself. When we talk about being ritually impure, being unclean, and you know what? Yael, woman of 10, said something that she gleaned from the Torah, which came right out of the Torah, is that these ashes was to be used for menstruation. Now, can the women in the room, since you are women and you go through the menstruation, for those of you who are still doing it, what do these ashes do for the menstruation? Can you tell me, you women in the room? Not the men. Well, the men, you could probably tell me too, because you need to teach it to your wives. You got to teach this to them because they won't know. So I'm going to leave it open for anybody. Can you tell me why menstruation and these ashes from the red heifer? Why? Can anybody tell me why? Because Torah tells us for menstruation and for separation. Can anybody tell me why menstruation? You thinking? Think harder. Keep thinking. It's important stuff, man. And see, this is another reason why in 2018, my goodness, the son of Aaron has taught on this as well. And how many of you are doing this? Men, be honest. When your wife hits her menstruation time of the month, you kind of treat her like an alien. Because you're like, don't touch me, lady. Don't touch me, Hunsy Bunsy, because you're going to make me unclean. And I don't want to be unclean. I know you need a hug right now because your emotions are off the charts. And your hormones is crazy. But I can't touch you. Because you're going to make me unclean. And I don't want to be real. How many of you done this? How many of you men have done this? Be honest. And you treat your wife like she's some kind of alien and she got some kind of weird disease that's just going to mess your whole life up and condemn you to the pits of hell forever, as the Christians believe. Can't be like that, Mishpahah. Listen, just like the son of Aaron has taught us, I mean, my goodness, you know, your wife is still a queen, even though she's on menstruation. She's still that beautiful queen that you love, that's loyal to you. So listen, during that time, during that time of menstruation, how many of you women will agree with me that your emotions are all over the place? You're like, I mean, one minute you happy, next minute you sad, next minute you turn into this angry person, and your husband just told you, hello, honey, good morning, and you just start barking like a dog. Poltergeist coming in, your hair starts spinning around, all that. And you're like, well, honey, Hunsy Bunsy, I just told you good morning. And I get all this, and then you got to realize, Mishpahah, I'll tell you, it's all in the science. The hormones, their hormones just get wacky. They like crazy during that time. So everything is like amped up, extra sensitive. So it seems logical at this time, and let reality slap you in the face. It's like these women at this time need you more than anything. Am I right? Maybe they need that hug. They need that attention. You know, how many of you, when you go through menstruation, women, that you have the cramps? How many of you get those bad cramps? Maybe you have cramps in your back, cramps in your stomach. You had this bad headache or whatever. And maybe you need Hunsy Bunsy come over and rub your head, rub your back, maybe rub your tummy, rub some ice cubes on it or what. I just don't know what works. Different things work for different women. But if the man is saying, oh, I'm going to be ritually impure, you got to fend for yourself, baby. I love you, but being ritually impure is more important to me than taking care of your needs. You see where I'm going? The son of Aaron has taught on this already, and it's very important that you understand. I mean, my goodness, you're ritually unclean, Mishpahah. You're ritually unclean for the evening. If it's going to make my wife feel better to rub her tummy, give her a back massage, because she's going through this, this pain for me. The same woman that's going to birth my child or son one day and must have this menstruation to clean herself out. Oh, I'm telling you, just like Akohi said, the creation of our bodies, by the God of Israel in his images is just like awesome. It's just like awesome. So if it's just going to mean you being unclean to the even to make your wife happy and comfortable, my goodness, Mishpahah. Come on, man. Ritually unclean. Look, I'm going to go with the ritually unclean. I'll be ritually unclean if I'm going to have to give my wife a massage, a back rub, or maybe just even hold her hand and say, baby, I'm right here with you. And thank God I'm a man. I'm right here with you, though. I'm right here with you. Whatever you need to make you comfortable during this time, I'm right. I tell you what, that'll make that woman more loyal to you than anything in the world. Why? It's because your faith is not just based on what you see. It's based on your feet. Oh, baby, you need me to get up and get you some water. You need me to make you red Kool-Aid that you like. You need me to go in here and fry you some eggs. I got it. You just rest right here. Here's some pillows, baby. Sugar pie. Put it under your back. Oh, I just went out to the Walmart and I got you this heating pad. Put this on. You see what I mean? Here we go. But some of you are so religious, landlocked, and you're so caught up in obedience to your God that you neglect your wife. Oh no, God forbid I become ritually unclean. Listen, last time I checked, we don't have a functioning temple. So think about this. We don't have a functioning temple. So if I'm ritually unclean, really, when it comes to, the comfort of my wife during her time of agony and pain, because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like straight pain. And my poor little wife, I don't know if it's just the Chinese, but they get so weak during that time to where they can't even move, man. And I'm going to tell you what, Chinese women are not that strong when it comes to them having babies as well. As their culture is that they take like 40 days off after they have a baby. They don't do nothing. And they bring somebody in. Normally the family members come in and help take care of the baby so that the mother can recover. She breastfeeds. That's about all she does with the baby. Did y'all know that? That's the Chinese culture. That's the way they do things over there. Here in the West, my goodness, you have that baby, maternity leave, maybe about 2 weeks, and you better be back on the job. You better have your butt back at the job. You see? But I think the Chinese, the women, their makeup, their body makeup is just so much more fragile when it comes to that. And so, yeah, I look at all these factors. My wife just gets very weak during her monthly flow. Man, she gets so weak. And she tires very easy. Of course, she's losing a lot of blood. And she gets very weak and she's very tired. And so, you got to up the ante, man. You got to step up. And don't treat them like aliens. You're bleeding. Yuck. I'm not touching you. Wow, that's the worst thing you could do. What witness to the Torah is that? Wow. Well, I read in Leviticus chapter 19 that I don't want to be separated from God. I don't want to become ritually unclean. My goodness, man. Is your wife dead? No, she's not dead. See, but sometimes we can get so caught up in that we're so caught up in the religiosity of things that we don't do what's right. That we don't show righteousness. We don't exhibit right ruling, you see. This is important for you to get this right. Because you want your wife to be loyal to you. Or your wife to be. Then you need to step up in this area and do what's right. As taught by the son of Aaron. He taught us this a while back. As you show compassion towards your wife during this time, and you deal with being ritually unclean until the evening. You deal with that. Until the evening, you deal with it. You deal with it. Now, which wife you think would be more susceptible to listen to you? Would it be the wife that you consoled and took care of and was compassionate during that time of her anguish and pain? Or would it be the wife that, man, you actually put her in another room, you made her sleep in a separate bed, you put these pillows between both of y'all, matter of fact, you kicked her out the bed, had her sleeping on the floor, you guys sleeping in separate rooms, and you alienated her. You didn't do nothing. She had to fend for herself because you didn't want to touch her. She tried to ask you to help her. You wasn't hearing it. You say, I'll see you after your monthly flow. and you kick her to the curb. Which wife do you think is going to be more loyal to you? Let's not talk about love, because I believe the other woman in the A category, in the B category, might end up hating you. Like, man, what kind of man is this? What kind of man did I really marry? You see? You see, so we need to be more, I'm telling you, you really need to look at that and really be more compassionate towards your wife and really be there for her to help you, because, you know, she's the one that's holding you up. We talked about this earlier. Somebody was talking about how, you know, behind every great man it should be a great woman. That's how it's going to be. If a man is great, it's the makeup behind him that's making him great. It's that great woman, that awesome woman that's holding him up. Well, what happens when the wife goes down? Who's going to hold her up? The children? Nope, she's the legs on the table. You're absolutely right. Yael, woman of the tent. You have no legs on the table, then you have no table. You just have a flat base. And believe me, there's many in this room and probably listening via MP3 that's right now flat base. You're not a great man. Why? Because there's no great woman behind you. Think about that. You're only half of a man. Can't be great without a woman behind you. You'll find that out when you see the other side of the stick. When you get that great woman, I'm telling you, when you get that woman that's loyal to you, and you begin to expound on her loyalty, and you begin to nurture and grow that loyalty by being there for that wife, my goodness, there's nothing like it in the world. To die for that, Shane Yah. Shane Yah can tell you from experience. That loyalty must grow. She may not start out with a whole bunch of loyalty, because y'all still going through the filling out stage. Y'all filling out one another, seeing where your weaknesses are and where your likenesses are, getting along with the differences of each one of you, and learning how to come together with your differences. Son of Aaron has taught this many times. A true relationship, a factual relationship, a relationship that's going to be successful is going to be the relationship that can give and take. You can give, but you can take as well. And you can balance that out. And you find that balance, I mean, you have found the Shemayim. When you find that balance, and you two can get on and you can cleave to one another, even in difference. That's what it's all about. Even in difference. God forbid I have a woman that like everything I like. I wouldn't like that. That'd be something. I wouldn't want a robot. I wouldn't want myself cloned. Who want to marry themselves? Come on, man. It's ridiculous. This is what makes you a better person. This is why, men that don't have wives, you'll never experience this. And men that have wives that are not loyal, you're in the same category as a man that don't have a wife. Think about that. If the wife is not loyal to you, then just like not having one. Go figure. That's just putting more heartache on you. Stress. The least you can have, am I allowed to have an opinion? Daughter of Zion, that's a good question. Am I allowed to have an opinion? I guess you're speaking as a woman. Absolutely, a wife is to have an opinion. She's to have many opinions. Like I said, a great man will be a great listener. I'm telling you, that's going to make a great man. If you're a great man, you'll listen. You'll listen to your wife. You'll listen, but then you'll make the final decision. She can have all the opinions that she wants, and she can voice her opinions, but guess what? Final say comes from the man. But the men need to hear out their wives. Sometimes you're going to get good information, and sometimes you're not going to get so good information. So the man needs to, because the man's going to be responsible for the ultimate decision. It's going to be the man. Now what happens is, just like how Kohen taught you, and the pattern's there from the very beginnings. It even happened with Adam. What happens is when you listen to the voice of your wife. Adam said the same thing that the son of Aaron said. He said, Master Yah. He said, Master Yahushua. He said, Master Yahweh. It was that wife that you gave me. The blame automatically went to who? To the wife. It was that wife that made me angry, and then I got like this, and I just became not myself. And I made this mistake because of that wife. She brought me to that point. And believe me, And I don't know if the women will be honest to this point, but I know the men will be honest to this as well, as they have seen it in their lives, in your relationships, is that a woman will learn to know how to push your buttons. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Put up a capital B. They'll learn your buttons, and they'll know exactly which button to push, and they'll push that button to try to take you to that level to where you're going to just, it's the festivity level. And Torah's going to be thrown out the window, and you're going to make some mistakes. Hopefully, you're not calling us from prison, you see. She's going there now. Thank y'all. So, yeah, they'll know those buttons. And when they punch that button, my goodness. My goodness. Spiritual man is put to the side, and now you just dealing with flesh kefir. Ooh-wee! That's not a pretty sight. You don't want to see the lion come out. You just keep me as little Simba. I'm good. But you don't want Lion King. you don't want to see Lion King. But they know how to push those buttons to try to take you there. And this is the pattern from the very beginnings of time. Or the tiger, yeah? That's how Kohen, the tiger. You don't want that tiger to come out. And it does go both ways as well. But all of these things, when you look at a relationship, they're not beneficial and nurturing to a relationship. These things, if you allow them to be instituted in your relationship, will be used to break down the relationship, to tear the relationship apart, and to put up barriers. So instead of bringing a union to where you cleave to one another, these things will make you want to leave one another. So for that, Hokmah, this is what it is. And this is what you have to be careful of and be mindful of. Is not trying to push those buttons. Because over time, you guys are going to live with one another. You're going to begin to learn the nuances of one another and what buttons to push and what buttons not to push. You're going to know those buttons. The question is, are you going to take it there? And you should never take it there. Leave before you even have to take it there so there's no troubles. Before the relationship is left and broken. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So, these are things that we really need to examine in our relationship fronts. Because we can't carry on. We cannot carry on in a relationship based on what we've learned from the past. Can't do it. Especially in these Gentile lands. Because the way they do relationships is shady. We have to be a step above, a step better than the rest. Because we have to show a different side. And I know all of you are in relationship mode in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You are in a relationship form in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I would encourage you all to take heed to your faith is in your feet. And there may come a time in a relationship when you realize that you have to walk away. And that's cool too. That's cool too. Learn from the experiences, but there may come a time, you can't sit here fighting these battles forever, because eventually you're going to lose the war. So you must realize at some point is that you have to move on. You have to get on Tom and Jerry, that left foot and right foot, and walk away. Instead of just trying to make things work when there's nothing there to work. It's just nothingness. Why are you going to sit there and waste your time when there's all these beautiful women here in North America that you could choose from, and begin to re-nurture, learn from past experiences, and re-nurture a new relationship and build it upon loyalty and teach that woman how to be loyal. And show that man the respect that he needs and teach him how to be a man. If you don't already know it. What a man's role is, and encourage the man. Lift him up. Don't tear him down. Tell him he's a good man. Tell him he's a hard worker. And he'll go out and maybe work. He'll be like them Jamaicans. He'll work 3 or 4 jobs. Because you're telling him he's a good man and he's a hard worker. And he takes care of your needs instead of telling him just the opposite. Oh, you lazy. Well, guess what? That man gonna stay home and be lazy and watch Jerry Springer all day on TV. Because you telling him he lazy. You tell him he never gonna get nothing. He can't even pay the bills, this, that. Well, guess what? The bills are never gonna get paid. Your selection process of the next mate is gonna be so important for you. Want to talk about righteousness? You have to have a right relationship. Some folks are in some wrong ones, and they know it's wrong, but they haven't, you know, they haven't even moved on faith. They haven't even moved on faith because their feet aren't moving. They see faith. Oh, I just have faith that everything gonna work out. Well, guess what? You can wait on things to work out. But, you know, let's face it. Sometimes they don't. So then what do? You must move on. You must move on. Don't let this be a stumbling block that prevents you from a great relationship that's just a couple of steps away. A new start. A fresh start. A house of peace. Man, that's a beautiful thing. Have a house that's peaceful. So this is what we have to look at and examine going forward. So let's get back into our Torah. I think that this is vital for us to understand about, you know, being a ritually impure, ritually unclean, and clean. See, one of the greatest things that we do that, you know, I love our history and our way of life, you know, is with that menstruation factor and how we deal with that, and how a woman has to go through her monthly flow, and then she becomes clean with a ritual bath. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. You don't see this amongst the Gentiles. You see that, and that brings apart another question and another issue. When, you know, this ritually unclean and ritually clean factor, you know, here in this parsha, when we look at Numbers chapter 19, is dealing with, you know, the death. We're talking about death and people touching dead bodies, you know, and things of this nature, dead bones. You see these factors, and it's, you know, Torah keeps talking about touch, 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 touch. Numbers chapter 19, verse 11. He that touches the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. That's the ordinance. Well, I only want to obey the commandments, Rabbi Keeper. I don't want to obey the statutes, the laws, the judgments, or the ordinances. Forget that. I'm just good with the commandments. He that touches a dead body. Now, let's take that and bring that into 2018. How many of you know, like, every handshake you do, how many of you know that man probably just didn't come from a cemetery? How many of you know this man, or maybe he works at the hospital in the morgue? Or maybe he's a archaeologist and he just dug up some dead bones. Maybe he works at the museum. I mean, think about this stuff. How many of you know, if you ain't touching in some kind of way, shape, form, you might be touching these people, shaking their hands, greeting them, shaking their hands, running to them, bumping to them on the street. You ever thought about this kind of stuff? I tell you, this is why, you know, believe me, the sacrifices, when the temple is up, these sacrifices are going to be important for the cleanup process. Because we don't know. We just doing this stuff out of ignorance. We don't know. You ever thought about that? Oh, the next hand you shake. You don't know if they just came from a cemetery, you know, to spend time with their husband or their wife. Oh, you don't even know if this man or woman, if they husband or wife is a mortician, is working in a morgue. You know, cleaning up bodies and preparing them for burial. You don't know. You ever thought about these kind of things? So, believe me, you know, red heifer is really going to come into play later on. Sacrifices will. I don't know if this same red heifer will be in play later on in the exact same way we see it here. But I know we're going to have to do a lot of cleaning up, you know, because we were in the nations. We got to do a lot of fixing. We still need to do fixing now. The cleanup process the things that we cannot do now are just put on hold. They're not just done away with. They're not exonerated. Okay, well, let's just skip all that part. No. They just put on hold for now. Yeah, Reba Veneer, you're right. Some people even carry the remains of the deceased around with them in vows. Some people keep it in their house, Mishpahah. You ever thought about that? Yeah, they carry it around. Oh, yeah, you're right, Reba Veneer. I see them put them in little lockets. They'll carry it around in little necklaces. They're having their little lockets and oh yeah, this was my husband. Yeah, this was my husband Harry. Here you go, right here. I carry him around everywhere he go. You see? So we don't think about these things. As we're getting on with the Gentiles, you know, we may have to shake their hands and do all the other necessaries with them. You bump into them, maybe you work right next to them, especially in the healthcare field. I mean, I don't know what your other nurse when I was working in the hospital, you know, maybe that patient just died, and I'm over here now, they're working with me, with this other patient, and we're doing a procedure together. I don't know. I don't know where they've been, where they, you know, again. So, yeah, these things are going to have to be dealt with. I firmly believe we get a stay on that for now. Because a lot of these, I mean, we can't control. A lot of these factors are out of our hands right now. But when we get back into the land, it's going to be a different scene. It's going to be a very different scene once we get back into the land. So I think it's very, very important that we understand that. In the meantime, we get on the best way we can. And, you know, we don't make people seem like they're aliens. But we want to be approachable. You see, again, we go back to that word Mr. Perez was talking about in his letter, the inmate. You know, we don't want to be a hindrance to the Gentiles in no kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. We want them to be drawn to us so they can come to us. And we're not going to say, wait a minute, let me go through my 10-question checklist. Number 1, are you ritually unclean? Did you go to this? Did you do this? Did you have relations with your wife before we talking? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the list goes on and on. But we must understand we're in the Gentile nation. We're in their lands. We're strangers, right? So we must accommodate to that fact and be open door policies to them. Have your house open per se, not your physical house, but have your house open to where people can come to you, where they're drawn to you, and that you're approachable, and they can come to you and ask you questions. Because believe me, that was one of that man's problems that phoned into us this week. And you know, Militant Mike, if your name is Mike, no offense. But, you know, Militant Mike phoned in and he was, my goodness. He said, nobody would talk to me. My co-workers hate me. I'm the supervisor at this plant, Ford plant, and everybody, you know, they make mockery of me. And they don't like to listen to me because, you know, I sit there and tell them, I give them the truth. I'm like, my goodness, well, stop giving them the truth. Stop giving them the truth. That's not your remit. You see? Stop giving them the truth. Make yourself open and presentable to where they can come to you. You're their supervisor. They should be able to come to you, ask you anything. And you should be able to help them. You should be able to assist them. You see, we're not to be a hindrance in these nations we're dispersed in. We're here to be a help. We're not to be a hindrance to these nations. I'm going to say that again, but we're to be a help to these nations. And that's the same way in our relationship processes when we take it even deeper into our personal homes. You see, you want to find that mate that's going to be a help mate for you, not a hindrance. Some of you dealing with hindrances right now. Somebody that's not there to help you, but to hinder you. No, you want to have that mate that's there to help you. Oh, but she going through her monthly flow, Rabbi, so no, you're supposed to be there to help her, not hinder her. She's in pain over there, you see her in pain. You know, she's all scrunched up in the fetal position, and you just like, oh no, Hunzy Bunzy, I can't touch you because I'm become ritually unclean. Fend for yourself. I tell you what I'll do for you. I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray that the Abba will take your pain away. That's a bunch of foolishness. I'm going to pray that the Abba will deal with your pain and take the menstruation away from you. You see, that's a bunch of that religious malarkey. Don't need it. Ours is a way of life. Remember, your faith is in your feet. Let your actions speak for you. Yeah, baby, what you need? You want the heating pad? You need me to rub your tummy for you? What do you need me to do? You need me to rub your legs? What do you need? You want some cold water? Well, for the Chinese, it's going to be hot water because they don't drink no cold water. You want me to give you some hot water? What do you want me to do? You see where we're going, Ms. Bahar? These things are vital to understand. Now, I need to wrap it up here in a minute, but look, before I wrap it up, we're gonna go in more into the Torah because I must read this part right here. When we talked about, how sometimes you can get angry. You see, and also remember we talked about earlier that the Torah talked about that the Master Yahweh, he said, speak this ordinance, speak this commandment, speak this statute to the children of Israel. Remember we talked about that in Numbers chapter 19, verse 2? Now I'm going to show you something that's quite different that we see here. It's kind of taking us to a new place. Look at Numbers chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel. Listen to what Torah says here. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation. Whoa, what is this? Do you see that? Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation. Well, what is that? These look like two different people. But let's read even further. Into the wilderness of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there, and was buried there. Wow! Again, that's a whole nother lecture in itself when we talk about Miriam. But look at verse 2 of Numbers chapter 20. And there was no Ma'im for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron. Stop. There was no Ma'im for the congregation. But up here earlier in Numbers chapter 20, verse 1, it says, then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation. HaKohen, son of Aaron, talked about this in his lecture. Watch the company that you keep. You see, just like folks float through this room, and we had many people come through here, that were with us, but wasn't with us. You heard HaKohen talked about this during his lecture. Many folks, and some of you in your house, you have folks that are with you, but they're not with you. This is the same situation. Numbers chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation. You see, there's a separation. And then you look at verse 2. And there was no Ma'im for the congregation. And they gathered themselves together against Moshe and against Aaron. Wow! Look at verse 3. And the people contended with Moshe and spoke, saying, if only would Elohim had killed us too when our brethren died before Yahweh. Well, you know who they talking about there. Who's the people that died before Yahweh? My goodness. That was Korah and his lot. The ones that wanted to roll with the consensus. Look at verse 4. But get this. I want you to note something. Contention. They always come with questions that are lies. This is what I want you to know. Listen to this. You see, number one, Master Yahweh never brought the children of Israel, or even the congregation for that matter, into the desert so he could kill them. That was never said by the Master. You see, now there's words being put in, things being taken out of place. And just blatant lies. Lies. From the pit of hell. Remember, son of Aaron talked about, watch what you say. That Elohim had killed us when our brethren died before Yahweh. Okay. You see, they're asking these foolish, asinine questions. And it even goes further. Next question, Numbers chapter 20, verse 4. And why have you brought up the congregation of Yahweh into the wilderness, and our cattle should die there instead? Another question. And then it goes even further. You see, here come these questions. Look at the question in Numbers chapter 20, verse 5. And why have you made us come out of Mitzrayim? Now, last time I checked, nobody was forced to come out of Egypt looking like Mr. T, with all this gold given to him by the Egyptians. Nobody was forced to leave, Mishpahah. Remember? Lies. Lies. Nobody forced him to come out of Egypt. You could have stayed in that rat-infested, pestilence place, if you wanted to. Nobody made you come out. But you see, lies, Mishpahah. You got to watch this. You got to watch this. Listen to what Torah is trying to tell us is. Why have you made us come out of, why have you made us come out of Egypt, Mitzrayim, to bring us into this evil place? Well, where's the report of this place being evil? The master said that this land was a land, Moshe told him it's a land flowing with milk and honey. Now all of a sudden it's evil. You see? You see what we're dealing with? See, this is the difference between the congregation and the children of Israel. Congregation, you can chalk that up as the consensus. But normally what you're going to get with the consensus is a bunch of malarkey and a bunch of lies. Just blatant lies. No facts, you're just going to get the lies. So now the place is evil. To bring us to this evil place. Well, you're not even there yet. And get this, here you go. Let's continue reading that. It is not a place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates. Neither is there any ma'im to drink. You see where we're going with this? Now they had water. Miriam died and the water stopped. Wow, that's a lecture in itself. I know many of you men in this room are thirsty for some water. You're going to continue to be thirsty until you get that loyal wife. I'm going to let you know that right now. You're going to be thirsty. How many of you men know what I'm talking about? You thirst for that just loyal wife. That wife that you can train, that wife that you can teach, that wife that you can get on with. That's a thirst that you're going to have. And don't think that, you can do it being single. I was watching this thing the other night, this documentary. They were talking about the Lebanese women. They're refusing to get married. They're in their 40s now, and they're refusing. They've been refusing for years that they refuse to marry because they all have many rhymes and reasons. Because marriage, they say marriage is not that perfect union. Because when you marry, you set yourself up for divorce, and you can't get on. So they don't even want to try to marry. So you got a whole bunch of professional women in Lebanon that are not getting married. And they're in their 40s, they're not having children, they're just not getting married. So they did this documentary that they were interviewing these women. I thought it was very interesting on their take and why they didn't want to get married. Very, very interesting. So this is what's going on over there. So don't be like the mentality of these women. Because you think you were in a bad relationship before, that, why get married again? You see, because you're taking old baggage and you're bringing it into a new relationship. Is that even fair? That's not even fair. You're not even going into the relationship fair. Just because one relationship didn't get on, you see, you already limiting yourself. Because you think all men are like this, or you think all women are like this, just because you got with a woman that was not of your like, and she ruined you. So you think it's the end of the world, and vice versa. So you had a man that was abusive to you, emotionally or physically. So you think all men are abusive. Well, that's just not fair. And so that prevents you. That actually stunts you. That's a stumbling block that prevents you from carrying on and being that righteous person. Seeking first the kingdom of the Most High and that righteousness. But you want all those other things, but they just won't come because you're skipping the step. You're like, well, why am I not blessed? Because you don't have a wife. Why am I not blessed? Because you don't have a husband and you're not looking for one. And you say you're going to be single. You see where we're going? Skipping steps. Like daughter of Zion talked about, half-stepping. You're not going to be able to get on. So now we go back to all, again, and so you number chapter 20, verse 5, what are they doing? They're looking with their eyes and they can't see. Their faith is based on their eyes, the congregation. It's not a place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates. Neither is there any ma'im, any water to drink. You see, because they don't see it, it's not there. Because they don't see it with their eyes, then it can't happen. Because it's not there, then it's the end of the world. You know, the son of Aaron told me many years ago to look to the east and to get a wife in China. I couldn't see that for, you know, I couldn't see that for the cactus in San Antonio and the tumbleweeds. I couldn't see myself going to China. But you know what I did? Tom and Jerry went to work. My faith was in my feet. I got on that plane and I went to China. Blindly. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been to China before in my life. I only seen what I seen on TV in my Chinese movies. My Kung Fu movies. I know nothing about China. But you know what I did? The Master Yahweh, He honored my faithfulness because, what? My faith was in my feet. I just didn't say, well, okay, Hakoin, son of Aaron. If you say so, I'm going to just pray for a wife in China to show up in the Amazon box, I guess, here in San Antonio, all the way from China. That'll be a great miracle. I'm going to wait on that. I still be waiting on that to happen. Why? Because our faith is not in what we see. I couldn't see, my goodness, if my faith was based on what I see, I'd have never went to China. Because I didn't see myself going to China. It just was, I didn't think it was in my cards. I was like, all these women here in America. And believe me, I tried, Mishpahah. It's not that I was rebelling against that, but I still did try in America. I was like, well, you know, woman brought to my home. My goodness, that didn't work out. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, wow, this, you know, this hemisphere is not for me. I need to go and listen to what the son of Aaron said, just go to the east and forget about the rest. That's my testimony. I'm not saying that's going to be yours. And for the majority of you men in this room, that's not going to be yours. Your testimony is going to be right in the nation where you're at. You just have to learn to get on with different flavors. I tried all flavors. You got to learn to get on with different flavors. And quit being love-struck on just one. Because you'd be surprised how tasty the other flavors are out there. You'd be surprised. And how satisfied you'll be, how happy you can be, and how you can get on. But that's important to understand. Very important to understand. Don't say, well, Rabbi Keeper told me to go to China. China is not for the majority of you men in this room and listen to MP3. It's just not. But it was for me. America wasn't for me. Because I tried. My faith was in my feet. And I was trying. And I tried again. And after failure, rejection after rejection, I was like, okay. Now I need to go try something new. I need to go back to what I was told originally. Stick to the game plan. Because I did try. You know? Stick to the game plan. So, Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, that I stuck to the game plan. I'll tell you, I'm so happy now. I'm happy chappy. Because I stuck to the game plan. And I continue to walk. I mean, my goodness, I'm still walking. I'm going to always walk. That's our lifestyle, to walk, to take steps. But we must take proper steps. Even in rejection, even in failure, that's where your success will even come. And you'll appreciate success even more because you've tasted failure. So taste failure. Because it's going to make you even better successfully. If you don't give up, if you don't give in. If you don't stay in the failure pit, you see. That's important to understand. The failure pit. Reba Vania said Chinatown might work for some. Yeah, it may work. I went to Houston. My father lived in Houston. There's a big Chinatown in Houston. And there's also Chinese have their embassy there as well. In Houston, Texas. Out of all places, right? But guess what? I'll give you the heads up on Chinatowns in America. Is that the Chinese women there have been Americanized. That's the problem. So, again, it's still the same situation. The Chinese women in these Chinatowns have eyes. So they already have that Western mindset. You know, so again, I was told to go to the east. So that's what I did. So you may run into that problem when you go to Chinatown. is that they already westernized. Be like, wow, yeah, you know, I did the China thing, but you did China from a Western perspective. You didn't do China from an Eastern perspective. And when you get a Chinese from the East, Shane Yao will tell you, it's a whole new world. Believe me, it's a whole new world. It literally is a whole new world. It's quite refreshing. For me, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I tell you, when I'm in China, I feel like a king. Me and Shane Yao, we've had discussions over this in China. Matter of fact, in Qingdao. We've had discussions over this. You know, I literally feel like a king. Just like a king. So I tell you, I feel, it's not based on a feeling, but I tell you, you just have that sense of just being a king. Because of the way you're treated over there. You know, the loyalty and just the respect that they have for a man is just like nothing I've seen nowhere else in the world. Nowhere else in the world. Yael, woman of the tent, says, so where is our East for women? Well, Yael, woman of the tent, maybe East is not for you. Maybe the East is not for you. Maybe West is for you. Maybe the South is for you. Maybe the North is for you. East is not for everybody. You see? I was told to go to the East. But East may not be for everybody. You know? It may be West for you, Yael, woman of the tent. It may be South. You know? It may be North. You see? But again, your faith has to be in your feet. And what you have to do is you have to, test out these different environments. When you keep getting rejection, that should clue you in. Okay, this sector is not for me. I need to move on to another sector. But you keep moving. That's the key. You're gonna have to. It's gonna be an experiment. It's gonna be an experiment. It's gonna be an experiment because you're gonna have to find what works for you. East works for me. It may not work for the majority of you in this room. Maybe only like 5% of you, maybe 3% of you in this room. The Far East will work for you. As I can tell right now, Shane, Ya, and myself are probably about the only ones that have Chinese wives from China. Currently. Son of Aaron has a son in China right now. A Levite is in China right now. Son of Aaron is in China right now. So that's about all I know. If it's anything otherwise than that, please let me know so I can be informed. But I think that's about it. So the percentile is going to be small. I would encourage you all to get on with the nations that you're in. I tried to get on with the nation that I'm in. It didn't work. So I'm talking to you from experience. For me, it did not work because I tried to get on with the nations around me and the nation that I'm in. I tried very hard. That wasn't my take. The son of Aaron had already told me I must go to the east, to China. Specifically, he told me to China. So that means I have to get on Tom and Jerry. I have to get on my feet, that left foot and right foot, and not walk over to China, but take the steps to get to China. And I'm so grateful that I've listened to the son of Aaron. He's never steered me wrong. Now, his direction and his instruction, it may not be easy sometimes for you to understand. But I would encourage you just to do it. You cannot go wrong. I just go all in. If the coin's doing something, I'm gonna always go. I'm gonna just go in. I'm just gonna go all in. No problem. Majority of the time we are successful. Sometimes we're not. But in those times that we're not, we become even more successful. Believe that or not. That's what I've seen. To sit there and watch loss or watch failure, I've seen that failure breed even more success. And I believe that's the pattern for the Hebrew. That's what happens. Even though you fail, it's going to breed even more success if you keep walking. If you keep taking the steps, regardless of what happens. You see, so many folks are dictated by what happens and not dictated by just the Torah. They're dictated and they follow by what happens. Oh, I failed. So that's it. No, they give up and then that's the end of the world. No. You just keep pressing on. You keep pressing on and keep pressing on. You don't ever give up. Don't ever give up on the laws of Moses. Don't ever give up on the son of Aaron. And you will never go wrong. Even though all hell around you is literally breaking loose. Because it will. It will. But never give up. Never give in. Continue to, embrace and really hold on and cling to the Torah of Moses. And you will not go wrong. You can't. Torah's already been tried, tested, and proven. Question is, do you meet the standard of the Torah? Okay, I need to close it up. Yes, I do. Now, what I want you to see is this. Now, we're going to bring, remember we talked about faith is in your feet? We're going to bring this right into, Torah does this great lesson that we learn, from, the chastisement of Moshe by the God of Israel. Look, let's read this. Look at Numbers chapter 20, starting at verse 6. And Moshe and Aaron went forth from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tent of appointed times, and they fell on their faces. And the glory of Yahweh appeared to them. Verse 7. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, now, listen to verse 8 very closely. Take the rod, and you gather the assembly together, you and Aaron your brother, and declare my word upon the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth ma'im, it shall give forth water, and you shall bring forth to them water or ma'im out of the rock. So you shall give the congregation and their beast drink. Look at verse 9. Now, pay close attention to Numbers chapter 20, verse 8. Now let's go to Numbers chapter 20, verse 9. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh as he commanded him. Now look at verse 10. Very crucial. Numbers chapter 20, verse 8 and 10 are very crucial. And Moshe and Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. Okay, here we go. That part was done, because go back and look at verse 8. You shall bring forth the mind. Okay, you shall gather the congregation together. You gotta gather them together. Verse 8 say, we gotta gather them together. Remember we talked about steps. Pay close attention. See, your faith is in your feet. Pay close attention. So Moshe and Aaron in verse 10, they gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said to them, now stop. Here we go. Stop. Now, up in verse 8, Moshe was told by Master Yahweh to declare my word upon the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth ma'im, and you shall bring forth to them ma'im out of the rock. Okay? Now look at what Moshe does. He gathers the congregation together. Remember, talk about this is for you, daughter of Zion. Don't sidestep, right? Don't sidestep. So Moshe and Aaron, they gathered the congregation before the rock, and he said to them, now hear you rebels. Okay, here we go. That was nowhere up in verse 8. Here we go. Here we go, Mishpah. Here we go. That was nowhere up in verse 8 talking about calling them rebels, right? That was nowhere in there. That was nowhere in there to go off on your satire and give this long, a thrashing. So here goes Moshe. Here now, you rebels. Now, look at what Moshe does. Remember we talked about earlier how when they started with the contention, they had all these questions. These questions that were all full of lies. So now Moshe, in his anger, he's calling them rebels. And now look, he's going to ask them a question. Is there anywhere in verse 8 does Yahweh tells him to ask them a question? No. But this is what was done. Shall we now bring you ma'im out of this rock? That's the question. Look at verse 11. And Moshe lifted his hands with his rod. He struck the rock twice, and the ma'im came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. Go back to Numbers chapter 20, verse 8. Show me anywhere in there where it says that he is to strike the rock. Look at what Yahweh tells him specifically, Mishpah. Follow the steps. Follow the steps. Still, the Ma'in comes out of the rock. Okay? So the congregation drank, and the beast also. Just like in verse 8. It says, so you shall give the congregation and the beast drink. And you shall bring forth to them Ma'im out of the rock. That part happened. But what happened to the part in verse 8 where it says, declare my word upon the rock before their eyes? Moshe was so, you see, what the children of Israel did is what happens in a lot of our relationships. Is that button was pushed, that festivity button. How many of you know that button we was talking about earlier? So now all of a sudden, Moshe is calling them rebels. You see? Here we go. Here comes that button. Remember we talked about that festivity button? Like you people, you little knuckleheads. You foolish people. After all this stuff that done happened, you people still in contention with me and Aaron? How could you be so foolish? You rebels. This is what happens when we get angry, right? We start saying things. You know, we start making these mistakes, just saying things that we really shouldn't say. Not uplifting the other party, but you just tearing them down. And that happens in our relationship sometimes. Because they push that button. Master Yahweh, it's that woman you gave me. She did it. She knew how to get to me. She pushed that button, and I became angry. And then it was the day of the lion. The lion came out. And I just wanted to be the little lion cub Simba. But she took me there. And I went there. Now I have to deal with the consequences. Here we go. Those rebels, right? Now, here's Numbers chapter 20, verse 12. We're going to get re-wrapping it up now. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, because you believed me not, to set me apart in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore, you shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. Look at the charge that the Master Yahweh puts against Moshe. Because you believe me not. Faith, belief. You see, he was given particular criteria in Numbers chapter 20, verse 8. Follow the pattern. Don't sidestep. Declare my word upon the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth water. You just got to declare it. Follow the steps, the procedures. You see, yeah, you have to walk with your feet, but you have to walk the right way. Otherwise, if you don't, the charge is going to come against you. Because you believe me not. What is belief based on? But our belief to the God of Israel and how he sees it. Think about it. It's on, our belief is based on what we do according to what the Master says. Do we follow his words to the teeth, or do we sidestep? See, because when we sidestep, then because you believe me not. See, you don't have no belief. Because you sidestep it. Children of Israel, or for this matter, the congregation. To set me apart in the eyes of the children of Israel. That was the commandment that was given to him. He was told to do things a certain way, and he didn't. So there's consequences that's involved. When you sidestep the procedure and the process that's been given to us. I've noticed this in my own personal life. We can't skip around this. We must follow to a T. This is why I got rejection here in the West. Is because I was told by the son of Aaron to look in the east. I was told. East is where I have to go. Yeah, I knew I was going to eventually go, but I was like, well, I still might, I still want to look at the fruits over here in the West and see what can happen. But in the back of my mind, I still had every intent to go to the east. But the master was telling me, no, you go to the east first. That's where you're going first. I told you go to the east. I didn't tell you to sidestep, look in Canada, look over here and in America. Nope, I told you to go to the east, to China. Not only to the east, specifically to China. Specifically. Wow, Mishpahah. So because I didn't do that, what did I get over here in the West? Rejection after rejection. I mean, I tell you, the son of Aaron brought a woman from Canada, beautiful lady. She had a good heart, very humble woman, very loyal. I can see it. She had all the traits there. Even that, rejection. Big X. No. When I thought everything was fine. She gets back to Canada and said, no, I think I want to stay in Canada. I was like, wow, that was it right there for me. I was like, man, I gotta go to the east. I gotta be obedient. I gotta take the steps. And now to this day, this very day, I'm so blessed for doing that. My blessings have increased, I can't put it into words. But it's because, I listen to the voice of the Kohen. You see, now what is our belief? You see, Torah's trying to really teach us a great lesson here. On what is our, you see, Master Yahweh told Moshe and Aaron, these are super Hebrews. Because you believed me not. That's heavy. So what is our belief system based on according to what Torah tells us? It's according to what we do. It's according to what we do and what we did not do. Based on what we're told to do by the God of Israel, by this Torah. Do you see how important this is? If you muck this up, step by step by step by step, then your manufacturing gonna come out crazy. and believe me, the Chinese have learned from this. We have to follow the steps to improve our manufacturing capacity, to improve what is being said about us in joking. And maybe some of it is true, that the manufacturing that was coming out of China was just, second class, second tier, and not second to none. The Chinese have learned from this. And now, they're still manufacturing many products, and now the quality of their products have kicked up tremendously. How many of you have a ZTE phone? That's a Chinese phone. That's a good phone. ZTE brand. Now, here in America, they're trying to block that brand from even coming out. You can't even buy one over here. That's an excellent phone. And it's not as expensive as an iPhone either. But the quality is very good. I know Kohen and myself, son of Aaron, we've bought many phones, Chinese phones, and given them to our Aishas all over the world. And they seem to be the better phones that hold up. Because I remember one time, man, my Aisha in Africa, my goodness, every other day she breaking phones. I'm like, Mom, what's happening? Get her a Chinese phone, she couldn't break that sucker. She probably tried to, so she can get her a new one. But she couldn't break that sucker. That sucker lasted. So I know their quality is getting a lot better. Why? It's because now they start to learn, okay, we got to follow these steps, and we got to put in provisions to make sure that in our production phase, no steps are being missed or like sidestep, like Daughter of Zion talked about. Can't be sidestepping anymore. I think that's very, very instructional for us to understand as well. You see, because when we sidestep with the Torah, then maybe the same charge will come against us that went against Moshe and Aaron. Because you believe me not. We don't follow that word to the T. That's disbelief in the eyes of Master Yahweh. You don't follow his word. What was the Master Yahweh's will? To do things this way. But then we will it our own way. And then we end up finding ourselves on the highway. You see what I mean? So I think it's important for us to understand this great, timely lesson about following the steps. You see it in the red heifer procedure. There's steps. Steps must be done. children of Israel must bring this kind of heifer. Must be without blemish. Must be this. Must be a female. Can't be a male. See, you broke the step. How you ever gonna, you gonna continually be separated? Oh, you don't want to bathe on the 3rd and 7th day? Then guess what? You broke the step. If you only want to bathe on the 7th day, not the 3rd day, then guess what? You're going to continue to be ritually unclean. You can't skip steps. Step by step. You must follow the steps properly, Mishpachah. Well, Rabbi Kifa, I don't know how to follow the steps properly. What are the steps? I don't even know what the steps are. That's when you get with the son of Aaron, to make sure you hear the instruction and heed the instruction very clearly so that you can follow through exactly that way. Well, I don't need to go to the son of Aaron. I'm going to pray and I'm going to wait on the God of Israel to tell me. Then I say to you, good riddance. Best endeavors. Because you're going to be waiting for a very long time. And it'll be a sad commentary for you to die, waiting many years to hear from the God of Israel. And you never do. So you never get on with the fullness of a life here on this earth and really enjoy the fruits of this great earth that we've been given dominion over. That'd be a sad commentary. So all of you, quit waiting around. Put your faith in your feet. Start taking action. You want that wife, you want that husband, put your faith in your feet. So what? You face rejection here and there. I can tell you about some rejection. I can tell you about it. But I didn't let that stop me. I can tell you about some divorces because I've been there many times too. But I'm not going to let that stop me. Well, Rabbi Kifa is cheaper to keep her. That's an excuse. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You see, because you put yourself in contention with the God of Israel. Just like, the congregation did in this parsha. They did the same thing. You don't want to put yourself in contention with the God of Israel. And you think you're not doing it, but you are. Making up these foolish excuses. Oh, well, Rabbi is cheaper to keep her. I don't know how I'm going to get on without her. I don't know how I'm going to get on without him. Your faith is in what you see and not in your feet. God of Israel can never work in your life, you see. I don't care if I had to get divorced 20,000 times. It don't matter. I don't care if I break the record for divorces. Just like, what are you telling me, son of Aaron, about the one man over there in Europe? He ended up marrying I don't know how many times till he got the right woman. My goodness, he broke the record for marriages. But he never gave up on marriage. We shouldn't either. We should never give up on marriage. Kudos for you to keep trying. And you chalk up so much experience. So much experience you chalk up by the marriages that end in divorce. It makes you such a better person for the next one. And the next one, if it needs be. So, Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, I think I'm going to wrap it up on that note and wish you all a very great Shabbat. And for those of you who Shabbat is finished, I'll say Shalom, Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to you. And we'll leave it open for questions at this time. But, I'm just telling you from experience. And I'm telling you, opening up my life to you. And telling you that this Torah will never do you wrong. We wrong the Torah many times, but Torah never wrongs us. But we wrong the Torah. So we just need to change that behavior up. And really stick to our guns, follow the steps, and you won't go wrong. You won't go wrong, Mishpachah. Not that the steps are going to be easy. Because listen, it's not easy just to pack up and go to China. That's not easy. That requires steps within itself. So again, take it to head and heed what the son of Aaron is telling you and giving you direction on and encouraging you. Because all these things are to really build you up so you can be blessed. You're already blessed, but you just got to see it. And some of you, just because you don't see it, you think you're not blessed, but that's just not the case. Well, Shabbat Shalom to all of you, Mishpachah. Shalom, Shalom to you across the pond. I'm going to turn it over to HaKohen. You all have a great 6 days ahead. Okay, maybe the Kohen is out already. I'll close up the room. It's no problem. You all have a wonderful Shabbat. and we'll shut it down on this end. We'll see you if the master so desires to linger next Shabbat. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. Have a wonderful Shabbat.